With my whole team here, we are excited to get back into the keynote today, but we are kicking things off before we get there with a special guest who we had to cut a little bit short yesterday, and I apologize for that profusely, but I promised that I would make it up to him, so here we are. We have some pretty good things to go over with Mr. Jeff Baxter, because we didn't get a chance to do that yesterday.
You heard from my agent, right?
That's true, yes. We did get a written notification that you would need some extra
Violated my contract rider. There were no green M&Ms. It was just...
all of that stuff.
Yeah, all that, yeah.
So, Jeff, we've got a limited time, so we've got to get to some awards this morning. So I wanted to go through, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, sort of break down, without the voice of God, what the announcements were yesterday. And we went over a little bit of positioning with Mr. Keith Asen during his session. But break these down for me, if you can, into what the big buckets were yesterday, so people have a bit of a recap. Go for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think, we've been talking for the last couple of years about how NetApp really focuses on four, what we call customer imperatives, right? They're the four things that we know that customers are working on that we want to focus on. Because one of the things I think both you and I love about NetApp is we're not trying to be everything to everyone, right? We're not a conglomerate company, right? We're an intelligent data infrastructure company. So we focus on artificial intelligence, obviously. I know you're surprised. Everyone's surprised we're talking about AI at a tech show, right? I know.
AI, the word.
Yeah, so then cyber resilience, obviously. So I always look at AI as the big opportunity for a lot of our customers, as well as a little bit of fear, like, am I missing out? Are other people getting ahead of me? And then cyber is obviously the great fear for most of our customers, right? Where it can turn a very good day into a very bad day very quickly, right? And then more on the infrastructure side, data infrastructure modernization, right? How are customers modernizing their data centers? How are they embracing the hybrid cloud? How are they embracing GPUs and accelerated computing? And then obviously cloud transformation, right? How are they taking advantage of the cloud? So we had announcements across all four of those buckets. And I can go through, you want me to just go through them one by one?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty big payload, and I think we're going to need maybe some deeper dive episodes after we get past Insight for all of you guys at home and that are here at the show to be able to go through each of those sort of individually with a fine-tooth comb. Let's start with AI. That was the big ticket item of yesterday with the announcement of AFX. I know that's something that's been long in the making.
Long in the making.
We did make the announcement last year at Insight for this introduction of global metadata namespace, disaggregated storage, and a little bit more kind of generic terms, but this year we came out with sort of an actual productized item for people to wrap their arms around. So break that process down for me. How did we get to where we are now?
Yeah, last year was interesting because we basically decided, NetApp is always, I think, a little bit, so, I run product marketing, we're always a little bit conservative because we don't ever want to announce total vaporware, right? And because we consider it kind of it's promise to our customer, right? It's like, yes, things can change, but we don't want to say we're doing something unless we're actually doing it. And then if things change, right, then that's fine. But so when we started doing those announcements, we knew that we were already working on it, right? We knew that engineers were already building it. We knew we had it nailed. It takes that long to make sure it's rock solid, right? And the whole sort of tagline is the enterprise-grade data platform for AI. And so that was really what we were going for. I laughed because yesterday, someone on my team sent a note about the system and they used the code name for the system, and I'm like, it's fine, you can actually say the three letters now. Like you can actually, after...
You've got this constant PTSD
of
using
like
code names.
6 or 7 months of not being able to say AFX in public, and now being able to say it is awesome because we've built this amazing modern disaggregated architecture that has all of the richness of ONTAP. And I mean, if that's the one thing to take away from it, if you understand NetApp and ONTAP at all, to understand truly what that statement means, to have all of the value propositions of ONTAP, but have a disaggregated platform like one of these AI startups or whatever, and combine those, and combine all the track record of NetApp, all the resiliency of NetApp, is just mind-blowing to me.
Wow. I'm anxious to dig into it more. I know we had the guys on for a little brief update yesterday, but stay tuned, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here on YouTube because we are going to have deep dives with all of those folks, Jeff's entire team, going over all of these extreme details of what you need to know about AFX and all of that cool stuff that's coming. The next one I wanted to move into, if you don't mind, is cyber resiliency. There's two parts to this. There's the stuff that we're doing in ONTAP, and there's the stuff that we updated with some of the announcements around NetApp Console for the ransomware resiliency platform. I just got a bit of breaking news this morning from Gagan.
Yes.
That would you like to share that news with the audience?
You go ahead. That way I can,
So just as a heads up, guys, you may have heard the announcements yesterday with regards to NetApp Console and the new ransomware resiliency product that is going to be built into that to manage all of your ransomware resiliency across your estate. We are now giving you 6 months free of that service. All you have to do is create an account, set up your stuff. I think it's up to 100 terabytes, Jeff,
that's right.
if that's correct?
Yep.
Up to 100 terabytes, 6 months of use for free to try it out. And so take it for a drive. Yep. Point your controllers at it, point your cloud resources at it. You can absolutely use that now for free for 6 months, up to 100 terabytes. So
it's awesome.
Big breaking news out of the. It just got in my email 15 minutes ago. So yeah,
it's really cool. I mean, honestly, and that was even for us. I'll be a little bit, behind the scenes. That was a little bit late breaking news for us because we were looking at it and we're going, this is so awesome. We want everyone to get a chance to try it, right? And we know that sometimes that first cent, that first dollar can be an impediment at some organizations. So we're like, we don't want to let that get in the way. Go try it out, see if it works. If it doesn't live up to your expectations, we want to hear about it. We want to make it even better, right? But we want to earn every subscription to that service, and that's the best way to let people try it out, right?
Is there a way that shows, outside of the free trial window, what this would cost so that they have some visibility into that with an expectation? So once you get to that 6 months or once you exceed the 100 terabyte, like what is that going to cost me on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, I think we'll provide some of that information over the next month or so to people so they can kind of get that idea.
Awesome.
I think we're still rolling that out. And we should mention, so the ransomware resilience, part of it was a rename. We renamed everything Blue XP, right? And I think that's been kind of, we didn't run out and say like, Blue XP rename, that wasn't an announcement, right? But what we basically said was Blue XP was getting confused as a platform, a GUI, and a name we put in front of every product, right? It was like using the old SNL terms, it was a floor wax, a dessert topping, it was everything all in one, right? So what we said is, look, the NetApp data platform is the platform. And that's the other big thing is like, we haven't made a big announcement about it, but we're finally acknowledging that we have a platform, the NetApp data platform, which we've always had, but we put a name on it, right? We've got that, we've got the interface, which is the console, and then everything else just gets a lot simpler. Instead of NetApp Blue XP ransomware protection, we just have NetApp ransomware resilience. So that's the lexicon.
Got it.
So NetApp ransomware resilience, the real cool thing is it manages all of the autonomous ransomware protection, the alerts, helps you hook that into your favorite SIEM, all that other sort of stuff. But then the really cool stuff that's new is the data breach detection, data exfiltration detection, as well as the isolated recovery room. Because it was kind of like we set off the alarm and told you someone was in the house, right? Yeah. But then we didn't help you with the police report afterwards and all the other sort of stuff, right? So that's sort of the isolated recovery environment, is what happens the day after, right? How do I get back? How do I ensure I'm malware free? How do I bring everything back? And then the data breach detection, fundamentally, it's actually a harder data science problem because autonomous ransomware protection is detecting anomalous writes. And that's kind of like, okay, I see encrypted writes coming down. I know that when they're over a certain amount, there's a certain amount of entropy, there's a certain amount of signals.
Right.
It's not easy, but and it's especially not easy to get the 99% plus accuracy, but it's there. The harder data science challenge, that's why it took us another couple years, was anomalous reads, which is essentially data exfiltration, right?
Yeah.
And that can't just be based upon the type of writes, whether they're encrypted or not, because they're just reads. They're not changing the data. So it has to be based upon the user behavior analysis as well as volume of data, right?
I love the behavioral analysis part of it myself because you can have cold data sitting in a volume on a lower tier but you can tell that nothing has been read or written from that data for 6 months, and all of a sudden it's getting a ton of activity. Send up a flag, be like, hey, just so you know this is happening. We took a snapshot just in case. Just don't know. Just let us know what you want to do with it. Yeah. That alone, right there, could save so many companies. Much less all of the other stuff that you just described above and beyond that. Yep. What we've seen evolve out of the original instantiation of ARP has just grown leaps and bounds. Yep. We've now got a very smart, intelligent AI ARP version, and now we're doing the stuff with AI with ransomware resilience to bring it all together into a sort of centralized dashboard for your whole hybrid cloud estate. Yep. It's beautiful, beautiful the way that it's evolved over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and I think you'll see it evolve even more from a dashboard. One of the things we were talking about is we're working with all these different SIEM vendors. We have this massive ecosystem, and so the next step is how do we make it even more autonomous? How do we integrate with things like SOAR to be able to not just send up a flare, but decide for my particular enterprise, when the flare is of this intensity and size, to take automatic action, right? So, but we don't want to do that based on just on our data points, and we don't want to do that, like, it's always been we're not going to shut off I/O access, right? Because the negatives outweigh the positives with that. But if you have multiple different intelligence points coming in, you could make a decision, hey, this is a Sev1 sort of thing. I actually want to pause access, right, until something happens. At least on certain workloads, I've decided that those are okay for me to do that. So,
or at least make them attunable so that the admins can dial that in however they want.
Yeah, however your enterprise wants to do it, and however the data signals you're getting in, and in concert with all of these different providers we're working out there, with Cisco, Splunk, Microsoft, all of these different major vendors in the space, work with them in the whole overall ecosystem. We recognize we're not the first line of defense. We're intended to be the last line of defense. So we want to integrate with every line of defense above us through the SIAM vendor to be able to provide that complete line of protection.
I love that. I love that we're the basically the vehicle that the outside vendors can use to deploy some of their practices in a more structured and standardized way. I think that's awesome. We've gone over cyber resilience. We've gone over AI. What else is in the payload that we want to recap for people and maybe get into some more details?
Well, I do want to go back to the AI thing, because the AFX was one side of the equation, the other was the AI data engine, right?
Got it.
And I think that you can talk about AFX in isolation, and it's going to be this amazing disaggregated platform that's going to provide all this amazing performance and data services, and that's awesome. And one thing we've, I think, made clear to people is you can just do AFX without AI data engine, but AI data engine is what really unlocks the power of your data, and what allows you to move into really being an AI-ready enterprise and having, you hear multiple different statistics quoted. George quoted an 80%. My favorite, there's a Gartner report that 60% of AI projects over the next year will be abandoned because of lack of AI-ready data. And so there's so many studies about maybe don't have the right toolkit or don't have the right data scientists. That's a hard problem to solve, and that is a problem to solve. But imagine getting all of those things in place, and then you just don't have the data available. Even though it's sitting there in your state, you don't have it ready, you don't have it compliant. And so what AI Data Engine is intended to do is help democratize the process, because not everyone is going to be able to afford massive human data engineering, data privacy officers to do all this different things. So we want to let you set your guardrails, set your parameters, use semantic search, create your data sets, and really turn storage admins into data engineers that can go to their data scientists and say, you wanted a data set, here's an API endpoint, point your inferencing at this, point your RAG at this, you are good to go, right? You wanted every document about project X, great, it's there, it's been through all of our guardrails, it's signed off by the DPO, go. Like, that makes you a freaking hero to your data scientists.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to this point where it's more important than ever for the traditional storage admin to become a true librarian and a curator, get your naming conventions in order, develop some standard practices, whether it's just dumb user home drives with their MP3s and Excel spreadsheets. Adopt those naming conventions, enforce them amongst your end users, because in the long run, that's the kind of stuff, those simple little things will be a game changer for when you get to do things like the metadata management and opening up access to it via third parties and things like that.
I would even argue that it's a good practice to do that, but I think what we're seeing is the vast sprawl of unstructured data, and 80 to 90% of data being created is unstructured. It'd be nice if all of it came in, well curated and everything like that, but that's one of the reasons we're looking at more semantic search and building knowledge graphs, because you actually have to understand the data and understand how the data connects to other data, because increasingly you're not going to have clean human created metadata about the data, so you're going to have to create your own, right? And build a knowledge graph that can then find all that data out across all the different clouds on-prem that connect into your topic. And so that's really the next generation is actually building awareness into the AI. So when you ask it about, the demo we did last year, when you ask it about diabetes, it returns documents that are about insulin, that never have the word diabetes, because it understands that there's a connection there, right? And that's really where the next generation of understanding your data gets to, is you have to almost use autonomous agents to do it, because the amount of data is unknowable to the human mind at that point.
It's great when we get to the point where we can have agents that will develop all of the taxonomies and all of the tagging and all of the metadata that will then be used by the data scientists to turn data into information. I think it's a very big leap, and I'm happy that we're sort of on the cusp of getting to that point.
Yeah.
We done with AI? Anything else about the data engine, or can we jump on to some other trains?
No, we can go on. I was just, I'll say on the agent thing, I think that's, as we're going to agentic AI, I was reading a story about a bank that now has agents that actually have their own Active Directory accounts, their own Teams accounts, their own email, And it really kind of opened my mind to what agentic AI is when you actually have these people who are not taking your job, they're your coworkers, right? And they'll send notes and everything like that. If that's the case, imagine having half your coworkers just go offline for 4 hours. I mean, I think we call that Friday afternoon at some places, but
or Tuesday.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll talk. But so imagine, so that's why when we talk about an enterprise-grade data platform, AI is not a experiment anymore. It's literally mission critical for your enterprise, and that's why it's time to stop the science experiments and start doing something that's sort of mission critical and proven, because your agentic AI is actually taking action on behalf of your company.
Yes.
It's working with customers. It can't just go offline whenever the hell it feels like, and so that's really what, to me, is the whole value of AFX and the AI data engine.
When we get to the super intelligence, they're going to develop their own mouse jigglers.
Sure, yeah,
so
absolutely.
they appear online all the
exactly.
time, right? So
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I was talking to Jason yesterday, and one of the projects that I'm kind of working on at home is developing documentation around my subnetting routines, my IP address schema, and all of that stuff to be able to train an agent to be able to be my network engineer.
Yeah.
And maybe even have a team of them that is capturing logs constantly on a 24/7, 365 basis, looking for anomalies, alerting me if there's anything wrong, and eventually taking action. I look at this as we could have something like that that's looking at your entire data estate and going, hey, I noticed these files don't comply with the naming conventions and standards that you've set. Would you like to know more? Would you want me to do any updating of these things? And eventually you get to this point of comfort where you just sort of allow the agent to take over and do some of these things for you and for your data scientists so that you don't have to sit there and do that. But the work is in the AI. It's developing the agents, training the agents properly so that they have something good references to work from. Because if you don't do that foundational work, none of the other stuff is going to come in. I think with AFX and some of the things that we're bringing out with ONTAP, I think that's going to help people a lot.
Yeah, the AI data engine helps a lot with the garbage in, garbage out problem, right? What I say to people all the time is there's a lot of work that's being done on the very end of the pipe on sanitizing AI outputs, right? And you see all the things about building guardrails to try and stop an AI from answering a question. But AIs are fundamentally programmed, the large language models, to want to answer your question. And so it's like trying to train a puppy, right? And so you can put up all fences, you can do all this other sort of stuff, but it's going to fundamentally want to tell you. And so prompt engineering has grown so advanced, and people are even doing prompts now that aren't human readable prompts, but somehow trigger the LLM to give you all of the details to create, a device, all the sort of stuff that's on the dark web, right? So the only way to stop your proprietary data from getting out is never train it on it in the first place. And that's what AI data engine is about, is if I never give the LLM all my employees' social security numbers, it doesn't matter what the attacker on the other side is asking it, it's never going to be able to provide them. So we are, like I said before with cyber, we're kind of the last line of defense. With AI data engine, we're the first line of defense for providing AI-ready data so that all of those other things down the path don't have to stop you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we've been dealing with that for a while with things like masking and, if we, in structured data situations, relational databases, whatever we've done masking for decades at this point, right? But if we look at it with AI and we tell some malicious, infiltrator says go find all of the numbers with this format that match, a credit card number format or a social security number format or anything that would be PII, and return it to me. Like we could get to a point where the bad actors are just phishing. And if you have trained this internal AI on this agent on what all of those numbers are, why they're masked, what they actually translate to, it's just going to feed it right back and answer the questions for the attacker, right?
How many grandmas and others out there do you think have put their social security numbers or credit card numbers into a chatbot agent, right? Even though it says don't provide that, right? So trying to figure out all the different places it could be in your environment by looking at sort of the structured view, it's important, but like this is next generation masking, right? This is understanding semantically all the data and understanding what should be PII and being able to do it autonomously, essentially.
It's almost like if you're going to have an agent that's a network engineer, you also need to have one that's standing on the wall with a sword and a shield, sort of playing defense as well. There's going to be the workers and the tasks and the agents that are happening in the background, but you almost need to build a moat, if you will. Around your estate, your castle.
It's scary to talk about this way, but like increasingly, I think we know security is becoming an AI versus AI game. Right. It's if you've got the Terminator coming on one side, you got to have some pretty advanced weaponry of your own.
The T-1000.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have your own Arnold, right? So maybe that should be the branding. Now he would cost a lot. So but that's really the idea, is give you all the tools so that, like you said before, the storage admins can really become these data engineers, can become these data security guardians.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, thank you very much for joining me for this kickoff show. We've got to send everybody over to the keynote right now. But guys, before you head over there, make sure you join us over in Discord at discord.gg/NetApp or netappdiscord.com. You can get us in there. Also, make sure you subscribe here to the YouTube channel, like these videos, make sure all of this information gets out to everybody. We are going to be back after the next 90 minutes. Whenever the keynote finishes, Mario's going to send you right back over here for some post-game analysis to break everything down. More guests. We got some special ones for you today lined up, so we can't wait to get to those. Lots of our partners. Yes, and you were special too, Jeff. That's We've got lots of our partners coming in today to talk about some of the solutions we're working on with them. So we've got guests from Microsoft, from Cisco, from AWS, all kinds of good stuff. So Jeff, I'm being told we have 3 more minutes. So
we have 3 more minutes?
Yeah.
This is where we vamp for 3 minutes?
Oh, okay. So he told me 30 seconds, not 3 minutes. So yes, just to wrap things up here real quick.
This is the highly variable.
This is the fun part of live streaming.
Have we thought about getting an AI Drew? Like an autonomous.
All right. Guys, we're going to send you over to the main stage now. Thank you so much for joining us for the kickoff show. We'll be back right after the keynote. Stay tuned.
Voices to the conversation that you've likely not heard from before, and we're talking about important topics like AI and cyber resilience, and we'll discuss them from a data-centric perspective.
We need you to go to your favorite podcast app and follow the STEMinists. Please, the STEMinists. The STEMinists. The STEMinists.
Right on, DJ Graffiti. I knew you could bring it. I knew you could bring it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The mix was definitely hitting this morning, as always. I don't know if you know, DJ Graffiti is a real big deal. This guy does events all across the globe. He introduces some of the world's biggest acts. He shares the stage with some of the biggest talent in the industry. So it's a big treat that we have DJ Graffiti from Detroit. For all of you that are in the building, what up, though? You know what I know. If you know what that means, you know what it is. And our live stream audience is here. They're finally here joining all of you in audience as well. So welcome back, everybody. Hope you all are feeling really good as well. Okay, let me see if you're really warmed up. You know what I want to hear? I want to hear whose house it is. So whose house? Yeah, some of you got it, some of you got it. Whose house?
Our house.
Yes. Come on, you gotta let the competition know. You gotta let everybody know. Whose house? Our house. And speaking of our house, how many of you, show of hands, have seen the NetApp house at the entrance to the festival grounds? You saw it? You saw it? You saw it? You saw it? Okay, cool. All right, well, why don't we explore. This is what it looks like. When you arrive, you're supposed to go into the house, you explore, you go to the 2 front doors, you're in the foyer, the intelligent data infrastructure, 4 different rooms, cyber resilience, data modernization, AI innovation. The house represents the NetApp products all under one roof. And then, of course, oh, look at the jacket, you're on the festival grounds. The GOAT of AFX, NetApp's AFX was there. People were on the hunt collecting pins, and everyone was having a really great time. Go explore the NetApp house and unleash genius. This is the story of NetApp. The purpose of the house is to showcase how NetApp's products and solutions innovate across key areas of the NetApp business. And that is the NetApp house. So make sure you go check it out. It's built on a trusted, solid foundation, enabling you to unleash genius. All right, up next, we have a very special segment dedicated to some very special people. Now, as you all know, NetApp has made it a priority to recognize customers that are doing great work that has had measurable impact on our world. And right now, we're gonna meet a few of those individuals. We're gonna hear their stories, and we're gonna give them the kudos that they deserve. So please, let's give it up really big for your CMO, Gabie Boko, as she presents this year's Social Impact Awards. Take it away, Gabie.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to day 2 of Insight. We're so excited that you decided to rejoin us here at Insight. You know, we're starting today with what could be considered not just a meaningful moment, but maybe one of the most meaningful moments of the week. It's our 2nd annual Customer Social Impact Awards. Yesterday, if you'll remember, when I was up here and when George was up here and Sham, there was a lot of conversation about intelligent data infrastructure and how it unlocks the potential of AI. Today, we celebrate something even more powerful, and that's you, our customers, and how you are using our technology to not just drive your business forward, but to create meaningful and lasting change in the world. And that's something that really aligns to the NetApp core values, and that's about caring for our communities. It's a record-setting year for us at NetApp because we had the most employee engagement around the world for social impact. 83% of our employees gave back through donations or volunteering. And together, overall, our whole company contributed $5.3 million. We logged nearly 21,000 volunteer hours, and we supported more than 5,000 charities and initiatives and nonprofits around the world. When you put all that together, our social impact grants also and initiatives helped bring data and AI education to over 500,000 students worldwide. You know, when you think about all that together, that's really the power of purpose, and that's why we do this. That's what we're so passionate about. But the truth is that you, our customers and our partners, you're the ones leading the way. We just support you because we know that impact multiplies when we work together with you. So this morning, we're going to shine a spotlight on organizations who are using data and AI to take real-world challenges in healthcare and education and turn them into something that's possible when purpose, as we talked about yesterday, meets innovation. So our very first award honors a leader in healthcare innovation. The European Institute of Oncology, or IEO, in Milan, Italy, is transforming cancer research by harnessing patient data. And they're doing it with incredible speed and precision. With intelligent data infrastructure, they're securing and analyzing massive amounts of data, and that's the kind of information that clinicians and patients depend on every single day. That's actually data in action, driving real breakthroughs in science and care. But let's watch the video. It's much better in the video.
When people come to IEO, they are looking for a place where they can find high standard and high level of specialization in curing cancer.
We are the biggest cancer center in Italy, especially for breast cancer.
This is a scientific and clinical hospital. Technology gives us very high confidence that if we are able to detect the cancer in early stage, we can reduce mortality about 30%. We have a possibility to create a sort of personal screening for every woman.
Being a research hospital, the preceding data belonging to the whole history of the patient must be always available. Intelligent data infrastructure is able to correctly plan the data capacity hospitals require. It's really important to be that fast.
When I'm supported by the technology, I can be more confident about the option that I can give to a patient, and also to empower the patient to make her own decision about the better treatment for her.
We've got confidence in the system because medicine and data work together to find a new way to defeat cancer.
welcoming Giorgio Bianchi, the Chief Technology Officer of IEO, to accept the NetApp 2025 Customer Social Impact Award for Innovation. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Thank you, Giorgio. Thank you, IEO. Okay, our second award celebrates leadership in data and AI education. For more than 30 years, the 49ers Foundation has built an award-winning STEAM education program reaching over 500,000 students. These students come from under-resourced or underfunded schools in the Bay Area, and this program is actually opening doors to opportunities they might not have otherwise had. NetApp is super proud to join forces with the 49ers Foundation in a recently announced just this morning new 3-year data analytics education partnership. And together, we're helping students discover how data shapes the world around them by building their own data literacy and helping them be prepared for a data-driven world. It's another example of how the NetApp technology, our people, and education all come together to really create lasting impact. Let's take another look at a good video.
Since its launch, the 49ers EDU program has impacted over 500,000 students across the Bay Area, and we've received national recognition for our work through STEM education.
The need for data and AI skills is growing faster than ever. That's why NetApp is so excited to partner with the 49ers EDU to bring students the chance to be face-to-face with the power of real-time data. And that's using the same intelligent data infrastructure that drives enterprise innovation.
Levi Stadium opened as the world's most connected stadium. Today with NetApp, we're becoming the world's most intelligent stadium, where every decision is driven by real-time data. From keeping lines short to powering the largest outdoor 4K video boards in sports, with NetApp, we're using intelligent data to transform the fan experience.
We came in today to learn a lot about data analytics, and we're partnered up with NetApp, and it's been extremely amazing. It's fascinating to learn about how data analytics comes in so many different types and careers.
We try to prioritize Title I schools, so the under-resourced, underfunded schools, to be able to come here, because sometimes those students are the ones that don't get to come to a game or a stadium, but when they come on a field trip, they feel like VIPs getting to learn all the ins and outs of the stadium, the 49ers, and even NetApp.
It sparks new possibilities for future careers throughout the Bay Area and beyond.
Please welcome Costa Claudianos, the Executive Vice President and Head of Technology, to accept our second 2025 Customer Social Impact Award for Data and AI Education. Thank you, Costa. Thank you, 49ers. So congratulations again to IEO and to the San Francisco 49ers. We celebrate your impact, we're inspired by your leadership, and we actually hope to see more stories from all of you, how our customers and our partners continue to use data and AI to make positive change in the world. Together, let's keep building the kind of future where intelligent data infrastructure drives actual, true social good. So, thank you, enjoy the keynote, it's gonna be great. And enjoy the rest of Insight.
Let's give another big hand for all of our winners, shall we? Awesome work. Thanks for all the great work that you all do. That's really great. Okay, speaking of important work, by the way, I want to quickly direct your attention to the message up on the screen. Friendly reminder that some of what you'll see in today's keynote is vision content. That means it's for informational purposes only, and the details are subject to change. Okay, thanks. All right, now look, we have a highly anticipated program ahead. In the house today, we have powerful presentations, we have transformative conversations, and information that's going to empower you to overcome today's challenges and build your data infrastructure with intelligence. The upcoming keynote that you're about to witness is all about innovation in action. You're gonna take the vision that you heard yesterday and you're gonna execute on that in the real world. I can't wait for you all to see it firsthand. It's gonna be awesome. I saw the rehearsals. And a special reminder to the folks watching at home, stay tuned after the session because Nick Howell is coming at you with his post-game coverage. It looks really great. The web feed looks awesome. Nick is doing his thing, and it's really set up beautifully in the festival grounds. He's got the smart recaps, special guests, and lots of cool stuff up his sleeve, so don't miss that. All right, I think we're just about at that time. Everybody's got their seats. Everybody's ready to roll. Graffiti, what time is it, my friend?
It's showtime.
And what do we do when it's showtime?
Well, we grab a seat. We put all our phones on Do Not Disturb.
We do that.
And we get ready to get loud for the final countdown.
100% we do. Day 2 is about to begin, but I need to hear it from this crowd. In order for us to keep this going, I want to know that you all are there. So when I say unleash, you say genius. When I say unleash, you say genius. Unleash. Oh, I don't hear. I hear it over there. I don't hear it over here. Unleash. In the middle. Unleash. Over on the right, unleash. All right, that's the energy we need. Now it's time for us to do what we came here to do. Unleash genius.
Data is no longer passive. It moves. It learns. It creates. It protects. We've taken 3 decades of trust and engineered the future. Not just storage, not just cloud, but intelligent data infrastructure built for speed, scale, and AI. It's the foundation that makes your data unstoppable, the core that fuels your breakthroughs, the edge that defines tomorrow. This is where innovation takes flight. This is where you unleash genius.
Please welcome Cesar Cernuda.
Good morning to everyone. How's everybody doing today? Is that it? I know we're not in a sales kickoff, but how's everybody? We're in Vegas. How's everybody doing today? Good? Great. Much better. Now I have an issue. I don't have my clicker. So if I can get my clicker from the backstage, please, that'll be great. That's real life and, something is happening right now. Anyway, let's start saying big thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you for being here with us. You see? Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with us. I really appreciate your time, and it really means a lot for us. There's a lot of work that we put for these events, but at the end of the day, we do it for you, and we do it with you. I don't know if you know this, but you know how many countries are represented in this room? 72 countries. We have people from 72 different countries around the globe. And I really appreciate your time coming, traveling. But I'll say we have customers, we have partners, but we also have prospects. So some of you sitting here are not NetApp customers. And I appreciate the fact that you have decided to spend time with us. Spend the time to listen to us, to get to know us, but I'll encourage you, talk to our customers, talk to our partners. I'll be willing to have you join in the family. So thank you for coming here. I also want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. Big round of applause to our sponsors. Without you, we would not be able to do Insight. And one of the things that I really like about Insight is the interaction between customers, partners, NetApp people. There's a lot of the great discussions that are happening. And there's a lot of learnings. Yesterday, I was walking and seeing some of the solutions that our partners and our sponsors are bringing here. You see technology into action. You see those solutions, all the work that we've been doing, how that can get represented through our partners to our customers. So I really appreciate all our sponsors, but also all our partners. Let me go and try to summarize with 3 key takeaways yesterday's sessions. I don't know about you, but I was inspired listening to George Curran, our CEO. You know, at the end of the day, what George talked about was about the commitment from NetApp to innovation. What we've been doing all these 30-plus years has been trying to anticipate to your needs, trying to listen to your needs, and making sure that we protect your investments with us. He talked about data fabric. He talked about unified storage. Everyone now talks about unified storage. He talked about intelligent data infrastructure. He talked about truly hybrid cloud. What we have done with hyperscalers, nobody else has done it. We can truly talk about the power of choice. And yesterday, he talked about the NetApp data platform. I think the session or the interview that he had, we put only a little bit about that interview with Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA. But it was fascinating, right, to see how much progress we've been making. And some of the announcements that we made yesterday with Sean, our new Chief Product Officer, where he was talking about the NetApp data platform. We were talking about FFX, you know, an AI data engine, which is really a breakthrough innovation to really enable your new AI workloads and prepare you to the new era of AI. But I also like to call out what Gabie, our CMO, came on stage yesterday to, you know, in the closing, where she talked about it's not just about technology. It's not just about the intelligent data infrastructure. It's actually about people. It's about unleashing genius. Unleash genius, which is something that we're going to talk more and more, all of us. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to bring real cases. I got some feedback yesterday. Some people say, I would love to have more real cases. That's day 2. Today, we're going to talk about that intelligent data infrastructure. What that means, modernizing, you know, some of those workloads, modernizing data, modernizing the infrastructure needed. How we can make more simple the cloud, and how we can make it secure and cyber resilient. And we're going to use real cases to unblock this. Because we all know that AI is only as good as the data that fuels it. So preparing your data to AI is key. George said it yesterday. We're going to bring AI into your data. And that's what we're going to spend time with you today, talking about how we modernize those data lakes. How do we make sure that with an intelligent data infrastructure, we are AI ready? I'm going to be back on stage later. I'm going to bring 49ers. I'm going to bring NFL. I'm going to talk real life cases with both of them. How are they using data? In a way that is very interesting. Think about fans' experience. Think about stadiums. Think about real-time data with millions of followers watching a game. We're going to talk about the international expansion and how they're using data and how NetApp is helping them in their AI journey. But before I'm back on stage, we're going to have a great session with Don Foster, our Head of Solution Engineers, and our Product GMs. They'll be bringing real customer cases, your cases, share them with you on how you are building your intelligent data infrastructure and how you're preparing for the AI era. So with that, welcome to day 2. I'm going to start with one of those customer cases, Mahindra Group from India. Let's play the video. Thank you.
At the Mahindra Group, we come to work every day with a purpose to drive positive change in the lives of our communities. We believe that only when we enable others to rise, we will rise. And we believe that technology is the central pillar and driving force behind this vision. For more than 7 decades, Mahindra has built the equipment that shapes fields, fuels economies, defends nations, and moves millions of people. In today's era of digital transformation, with AI-driven robotics and automation, secure, reliable storage is essential. Because when you trust your foundation, you can build without fear. When you trust your data, you can create without limits. NetApp influences our data foundation, data centers, and management strategy at Mahindra, and also ensures that everything operates on a foundation that is modern, intelligent, and secure. Our data centers support crucial business functions including design, manufacturing, assembly lines, and the supply chain. The collaborative approach and tailored solutions provided by NetApp have addressed our unique needs time and again. The consistent delivery demonstrates their role as a long-term partner in our growth. At Mahindra, we remain focused on innovation, sustainability, and excellence, with data at our core of our strategy. With NetApp, we are ready to meet challenges. Let's continue building a successful and sustainable future together.
Please welcome Don Foster.
How's everyone doing this morning? Oh, come on. How's everybody doing this morning? All right. Hey, take it from an old pro. Look, we're on the beginning of day 2. It's Vegas, y'all. Pace yourselves. Because here's the deal. I mean, you've probably seen the agenda that we've got planned. We're going to bring the knowledge. We're going to bring the insight. We're going to bring the experts. And we're going to also bring the fun. Take it from an old expert. Pace yourself. That way you can maximize all of it. All right. So over the last year, I've had a chance to talk with many of you. And even yesterday, had a chance to talk with our partners and our customers. And the interesting thing really continues to resonate and ring true in my career in tech, and that all of your all's business, they're unique. But the other interesting side of your business being unique is that each one of you and the challenges and the strategies and the things you're trying to solve for, they're fairly similar. Now, yesterday, Sham and George and Gabie all talked about our promise to you, and that's to be able to develop and deploy intelligent data infrastructure. Doing so in a way where you can modernize what you're doing on-prem, keeping an acute focus on cyber resiliency, while making the movement to and from the cloud and leveraging cloud resources as simple as ever, all while being prepared for the AI era today and into the future. Now, as I've had a chance to talk with many of you, we've collected a number of different questions and thoughts that many of you would like to have answered. So I've got a special treat for you. I'm going to have all of our esteemed product business unit leaders come on stage today, and we're going to ask them these questions so that we can showcase exactly how our portfolio can really help you drive those key customer imperatives that can help you solve in tomorrow, in today's AI era. So with that, I'm going to invite Sandeep Singh, Pravjit Tiwana, and Gagan Gulati to join me on here on stage. Come on up, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen, so thanks for making it out here today, and thank you for the time with our customers. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. What do you say? So one of the biggest questions I think I've collected from a lot of our customers and even some of our partners as they're working with our customers closely, and Sandeep, this is probably a good one for you as the leader of our enterprise storage business unit, right? The question really comes down to around complexity, right? Over the last 20 or 30 years, we've all been trying to build the best IT solutions for our businesses in a way that we can solve customer imperatives. And as we've done that, we've built best of breed. We have many clouds, many data centers, in many cases, many storage silos. And now, as we've heard and as we know in the AI era, that becomes really complex and challenging. So as you kind of work and talk with customers and think about what you've got planned within your product strategy, how does NetApp help customers solve for this complexity going forward?
Don, first of all, look, that's a fantastic question. Over the last 3 years, I've had a chance to speak to many of you. And one of the common challenges, perhaps the top challenge that comes across, is about complexity. And that complexity, when you double-click, it just expounds exponentially with all of the infrastructure silos. That means basically for customers, inconsistent management, inconsistent automation, inconsistent data security models, inconsistent overall operational recovery workflows, and just an end-to-end inconsistent overall experience. This is where you need to be able to unify. Don't just refresh, that just propagates silos. Unify to simplify. We started the journey with helping customers with a unified storage model. We expanded that into a unified enterprise-grade data platform. that can span across any app workload, any data type, across any cloud. And that journey begins with simplifying, consolidating workloads, and through that unification process to get that consistent management, consistent automation so you can automate once, a consistent data security model so you can have trust in the data security, overall consistent operational recovery workflows, because the last thing you want to do is kind of fumble around in the event of a recovery scenario, and then consistent overall experience. And when you think about data that is spread across on-prem and cloud and distributed across your workloads, and you need to be able to mobilize and access that data for AI, this is a very critical step to getting that data AI ready.
That's awesome. So Pravjit, you head up our cloud business unit. What's your perspective from the cloud aspect?
Thanks, Don. To be honest, AI is not possible without cloud, but cloud alone isn't enough. AI is truly a hybrid and increasingly also becoming a multi-cloud play. We have unified file and object access, which eliminates the need to re-architect data pipelines for different formats or storage types, allowing AI workloads to seamlessly access the same data set, whether stored as files or as object. NetApp AI strategy is differentiated in the sense that we don't ask data to go to AI. We get the cloud AI to data, forcing customers to move their data to object stores like S3. And we are the only storage platform which has first-party integrations with Azure AI and Analytics, AWS Bedrock and Q, and Google Gemini Enterprise. By extending FlexCache and SnapMirror across our entire first-party portfolio, we enable customers to move and access data at AI speed, regardless of where the AI services and models run. Then there is InstaCluster service of ours, which gives unique open-source GenAI infrastructure with easy portability to multi-clouds and no vendor lock-in. InstaCluster is unique. It provides a true GenAI infrastructure by providing freedom of open source, providing vector databases, smart search by OpenSearch, and MCP gateway.
So great platform approach, on-prem, cloud, back and forth. I love the strategy. Gagan, from a data services perspective, you run our data services business unit, made a lot of interesting announcements yesterday, especially around AID. Give us your perspective as well on how we can help reduce that complexity.
Sure, Don. Look, the recent studies have shown that up to 95% of the enterprise AI pilots, they fail and they're going to fail and they never make it to production. The pattern tells you something very clearly. It's not about the AI application or the machine learning model that's going to cause the headache. It is the data that feeds them. And it all starts with AI-ready data, right? You have to create AI-ready data, for which you have to first discover where your data is. And data discovery is like a treasure hunt. The data engineers in this room, the storage admins in this room, they will tell you that they're spending majority of their time just finding the data, accessing it, wrangling it, and making sure that data scientists have it as they need it. And when they find it, it's not just about finding that data, it's about data lineage, it's about governance, the frameworks that you want to put in place in your organization. Because what happens is that the security and the compliance officers will have no choice but to actually block those projects or slow them down at the end if the governance is not done right. And what do I mean by that? It means that the security officers or the compliance officer, they cannot risk exposing sensitive data like HIPAA data or GDPR data in the AI pipelines if that's not fully audited, if that's not fully anonymized, and making sure that the end users doesn't get to see it. So what ends up happening is that, one, data discovery is hard, governance is hard, and then you end up creating multiple copies of the data, raw data. Then you clean it up. That's another copy. Then you transform it, that's another copy. Then you vectorize it, that's another copy, you name it. And now you have multiple copies of the same data. That's the problem that most organizations are facing today. And that's where, what we announced yesterday with NetApp AI data engine comes in. That's our new ONTAP integrated end-to-end data service that makes AI simple, affordable, and secure, from finding and preparing data to serving it to the Gen AI applications. It's a game changer. It's a game changer for all of the people who are serious about ensuring that your companies are able to take these enterprise projects from pilot to completion.
Awesome. Okay, so I think the next key question that I've pulled from a lot of the audience here, and Pravjit, I'm going to point this one, I think, to you because it maps really well with what your business is driving and the cloud in general. Many of our customers out here are saying it's harder and harder to predict exactly how much resource, how much storage, how much compute, what they need on a month-by-month, quarter-on-quarter basis. And the last thing they want to do is go back to their CFO multiple times and go back to the well and have to order more, purchase more infrastructure, more kit. So, they don't want to buy too much, we don't want to buy too little. So what is it that we as NetApp are doing to help our customers provide that linearity and predictability in their business based upon how their growth and their resource utilization occurs?
Well, Don, this is kind of like a best question for cloud.
That's why I pointed it to you, my friend.
Cloud actually works best for customers in this problem space as it enables predictable cost control without any operational overhead. With our first-party cloud storage in Azure, Google, and Microsoft, you get hyperscaler native elasticity. You can scale up and down instantly. You pay only for what you consume and rely on hyperscaling's billing and metering automation frameworks. But beside that, we have consistently focused on delivering optimal price performance for our cloud storage solutions in each of the hyperscalers. Over the past year, we have introduced several cost optimization features, including Cool Access Tier, which moves the data between warm and hot tiers to object storage, and that often results in up to 50 to 70% of cost savings for our customers. Additionally, we have decoupled capacity and throughput options in all the three clouds, which also reduces the cost by up to 40% for small and medium-sized databases, as well as for large-scale file share deployments. Then we have reserved capacity discounts, which are also available for customers for further refinement to their costs. Even for Cloud Volume ONTAP, which we call CBO, customers run ONTAP directly in their own cloud account. That gives them the full visibility and governance. They can set precise tiering, snapshot, replication policies to optimize spending across hot, warm, and cold tiers. In all, cloud is the best place for your predictability on costs.
I'm going to jump in a little bit on this one. Plus one to everything that Pravjit said. In addition, the unpredictable data growth is not just a challenge for customers in the cloud. It's obviously a challenge across the board. On-premises, customers overall have data growth. We know that it's just continuing to accelerate. Customers try their best across the board for predicting what that data growth is going to look like, but unpredictable growth happens. And one of the best mechanisms for being able to plan as well as absorb unpredictable growth is storage as a service. NetApp Keystone storage as a service offering, best-in-class storage as a service that's available to our customers. It's a fantastic way of being able to either shift to go a consumption-based model along with the operational agility that Keystone brings along. But it's also just a fantastic way to pair it with CapEx. One of our large enterprise customers, they had predicted their growth, but their data actually grew 2x versus what was planned. And what they were able to do is leverage CapEx for that planned growth and then use Keystone to absorb the unpredictable data growth. And that was just a game changer for them.
So for any of you that are having that challenge today, I think that's definitely something to look into. Track what you're doing within the cloud, look at Keystone, great ways to sort of control that cost. All right, Gagan, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. You're our data services lead. This is probably a key point, a little bit of a shift of a gear, but I mean, look, in the AI world and the modern data infrastructure world today, customers, all of you all probably think you have a pretty good stance on where your cyber resiliency posture is. But we're always looking to be better. And oftentimes, your infrastructure provider a provider like NetApp isn't necessarily who you'd think you'd turn to help drive that security posture. Tell us why that's not true.
Well, the best way to do it, Don, is by taking an example. We recently published a case study internally about a pretty big architectural firm that got attacked by ransomware. The way it works most cases is, most customers have security in depth. So you start with network security or perimeter security. Then it's about identity security. You want to make sure that your identities are not compromised. And then, of course, it's about data, which is your crown jewel. And in this case, for this particular customer, their perimeter security had failed, their identities got compromised, and the attackers had already reached the data. And the data, which was sitting on NetApp storage. And you won't guess the amount of data that was under attack. It was 18 petabytes, so quite a bunch. The good news is that NetApp was able to help with that, thanks to our amazing technology that we have built over the last few years, and we call it the autonomous ransomware protection. This capability allows for us to help our customers by detecting anomalies and by detecting these attacks in real time. It's built into ONTAP. So the moment the attacks started happening, we were able to detect the attack. We were able to take tamper-proof snapshots for the customer. And at the same time, they had done the right thing. They had made sure that the alerts get routed to the security tools of their choice. And the alert went to them right away. So much so that the security operator was able to get in right away, block the user from taking any further action, and their storage team was able to then recover all of their data in record time. Like literally, it's funny to say that NetApp saved the day for them. And that's the kind of impact, our features have had on our customers' lives, because these are all, company-changing events when that happens. At NetApp, we focus on security by design. We consider ourselves to be the most secure storage on the planet, not only with capabilities like ARP, tamper-proof snapshots, and all, but we help our customers with providing end-to-end orchestration solutions with their entire journey and protect them against disasters, whether they are natural disasters, the typical DR story, or when they're man-made, could be intentional, like a cyber attack, or could be unintentional, when our IT admins end up making a mistake of any kind. So storage security is super important, has to be done right, and it adds another line of defense. So that when your perimeter protection, your application protection, your identity protection fails or gets bypassed for whatever reason, then you need that storage to be your last line of defense to improve your security posture. And yesterday, we announced a bunch of new capabilities because most attacks, have gone beyond just encryption-based attacks. Today, the term that gets used is double extortion attacks, which is where the attackers are going to come and first encrypt or take a copy of your data and then encrypt your data. And then going to ask for double ransom. First, to decrypt, they will ask for money, and then they have a copy and they'll say, oh, we'll delete it if you give me more ransom, right? But there is no guarantee that will ever get deleted. So what we announced yesterday was, again, industry first in this area, what we call as the data breach detection capability, which gives our customers the ability to now detect the data breach. And of course, we also announced yesterday another functionality around isolated recovery environments to ensure that our customers are able to recover safely and in record time. So, it's a really big deal for our customers, and we'll continue to work towards that and helping them improve their security posture.
And as we talk about our platform, we don't just stop on premises, right, Pravjit? We're doing similar things in the cloud.
Yeah. So most organizations heavily invest in network, identity, and endpoint security, the perimeter part which Gagan was talking about. But the foundation of resilience lies in protecting and recovering the data itself. Our cloud portfolio in all three hyperscalers provides native enterprise-grade protection, detection, and rapid recovery across the portfolio. And the good thing is that it is a unified experience with which you can operate in all three hyperscalers. These offerings deliver defense in depth, the storage layer, combining uniquely differentiated machine learning-driven ARP capabilities, which Gagan was talking about, along with instant recovery at scale without any impact on performance because we take the copies from immutable snapshots. We further extend protection using encryption at rest and flight, and more importantly, with customers' own managed encryption keys, which are becoming more and more important and critical in sovereign and gov clouds and so on. Then we have capabilities like centralized file access logs for real-time visibility and as well as like proactive incident tracking. So the intent here is to give enterprise complete control of their security posture, especially around data. And in case when the unthinkable happens, a unified experience combining native snapshots, SnapMirror, and backup restore allows organizations to failover or recover within minutes. And the more important part is they can even recover across geographies.
And I'm going to just chime in real quick. Look, the real game changer that we're bringing to this from a cyber resilience standpoint, Gagan talked about it, it's the real-time ransomware detection. Ransomware detection used to be the realm of post-processed and secondary workloads. That's hours to days later. We've changed the game with real-time and primary storage, being able to detect within seconds to minutes. That becomes the fundamental enabler to rapid recovery. You have that built into your ONTAP One. You can switch on ONTAP ARP AI and get on your journey to becoming cyber resilient.
Awesome. So gentlemen, we're almost out on time. So 50 words or less, the last key question. How can you make sure that our customers and their path on AI can be successful and not a part of the 85% of failure going forward? What can we do for them?
Well, look, in terms of the announcements that we made yesterday with a new disaggregated data infrastructure built for AI with AFX and that AI data engine giving you full, secure, and efficient AI data pipeline that has been just made easy, that's the game changer enabling you to go and tap into the immense potential of AI. That journey can begin with unifying and building a unified data foundation, leveraging cloud, getting cyber resilient, and that fundamentally sets you up to become AI data ready.
Awesome.
To be honest, AI innovation thrives in the public clouds with a unified data operating system that spans across on-prem and also into all three hyperscalers of ours. We empower you to apply any AI model to your data without requiring data movement. I highly encourage you to look into our integrations, with native integrations with all three hyperscalers, AI and analytics stack, and give it a spin.
I think the last thing I'd probably add is AI is complex, is going to take a village, and that village includes NetApp and our partners. Yesterday we announced a bunch of our partnerships, of course, with NVIDIA, but at the same, and Informatica, but there are many more. Pravjit took the example of what we are doing with all our hyperscalers, and there are many actually at the festival grounds. So I think I'll encourage everybody to go to the festival grounds and make sure that they look at the great work our partners are doing with us in terms of integrating with ONTAP, integrating with AI data engine, and bringing to life easy, more efficient, and more secure AI data pipelines.
So excellent. So look, before we get the hook off the stage, 3 quick things that I want you all to action on for day 2 as you maximize your learning before we maximize the fun. Make sure you're leveraging the festival grounds. We've got a ton of NetApp and partner experts that are just itching to talk to you about how we can make your AI journey a success. Number 2, if you haven't been to the labs on demand yet, get there. There's some really cool ways to put your hands on the new technology and see what it can potentially do for you and your organization. And number 3, as Gagan mentioned, it takes a village. Engage with our partners. There's some really amazing things that we're doing together. We'd love to go deep with you and figure out how we can make your AI journey a success. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.
The world is running on code. Billions of lines being changed, tested, deployed every second. But code alone doesn't change the world. It needs a foundation. One that's open enough to adapt, intelligent enough to optimize, and resilient enough to stand up to the unexpected. At Red Hat, open source is that foundation. It's where innovation begins and where transformation takes root. That's also why we partner with NetApp. Together, we give that foundation a data backbone, engineered for the speed of AI, the scale of hybrid cloud, and the demands of today's increasingly complex IT landscape. Intelligent data infrastructure powered by open source innovation and critical services to run both virtual machines and modern containerized workloads across the hybrid cloud. That's not a future plan. That's today. We orchestrate, we automate, we innovate. From edge devices in remote locations to Kubernetes clusters in the cloud to the heart of the enterprise, our platforms keep data moving, applications running, and teams creating. Together, we empower organizations with the freedom to build boldly, to scale fearlessly, to innovate without compromise. We keep customer success and innovation as the focus of everything we do. Open innovation, intelligent infrastructure. A partnership built for confidence. That's Red Hat and NetApp. Together, we're ready for what's next.
Please welcome Dallas Olson.
Hey everyone, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here with you this morning. You know, the video that we just watched on Red Hat led me to the topic that I'm going to cover over the next few minutes. And that is two important things: NetApp innovation and how we bring that innovation to life with our alliances and our partners. Together, our innovation and ecosystem are powerful, and they reinforce a very important truth. NetApp is just a piece of the total solution required to drive outcomes for our customers. Not a single company in the market exists that can harness the power and potential of AI and deliver on that and all of it by itself to the customer. Partners have always been integral to NetApp's ability to deliver for our customers. All of us here in the audience bringing our unique strengths, our expertise, our innovation together to help drive a full solution. And the fact is this: the AI era that we now live in demands that we accelerate our interdependency like never before. Now, I know it's cliche for me to stand here and say that AI changes everything. And while that may be a bit hyperbolic in some cases, it's an understatement when it comes to the partner ecosystem. AI is absolutely transforming not just the way that we go to market together, but also the way that we innovate together. You heard Cesar this morning talk about our focus on customer centricity and how it guides everything that we do. It's that focus on our customers and what makes AI possible for them that drives our determination to take our ecosystem to the next level. We're not only strengthening our routes to market through our partners, and those of you who have been with us for decades helping bring our tech to life for our customers, we're also accelerating our co-innovation in ways that you heard about yesterday. NetApp's alliances and partners are influencing the market to deliver previously unimagined outcomes for customers. So, while I'm not going to stand here and say AI changes everything, I am here to talk about our alliances and our partners and how they're supercharging AI outcomes for our customers. But what does that integrated, fortified ecosystem mean for you, all of you here in the audience today? Whether you're an IT pro or you're a trusted partner, it means that you're not only able to solve today's challenges of complexity, you're putting in place the very foundation that will determine success in the AI age. We believe that going all in on our partner ecosystem and our alliances and being present in the world's most powerful and effective technology solutions will give you the capabilities that you need to go make things happen for our customers. Now, let me share with you 4 examples of what we mean when we say we're trying to be present and want to be present and are going to be present in ways that we never have before, and you've witnessed that over the last couple of days, on how we want to bring these to life with our alliances moving forward next year and this year. Now, before I jump in, I want to say something that's very important. This is very important. These are just 4 examples of many many of the creative alliances and partnerships that we have out there. We love all of our partners and our alliances deeply, and we're very grateful for your partnership. Yeah, absolutely. So this morning, we're just going to explore four examples of many. First, let's start with Red Hat, which we just saw a moment ago. Red Hat has been a great partner to NetApp in this space for the past 15 years. We're deeply appreciative of that partnership. NetApp, ONTAP, and Trident are natively integrated into Red Hat software, which allows customers to unleash the full potential of open source, to run the most mission-critical workloads at enterprise-class performance, scale, and protection. And now, this week, we announced expanded support for Red Hat OpenShift virtualization in the cloud, together with a new NetApp Shift solution. This integration converts virtual machines between hypervisors 5 to 20 times faster without any data migration. What does this mean for CIOs? It means that CIOs save on infrastructure costs, they get there faster, and they do it with less risk. Now, this just doesn't make IT teams happy. These are outcomes that give the C-suite flexibility and resource that they need to charge ahead into the AI future. For our customers running VMware, the gold standard for virtualized workloads, the outcomes are equally meaningful to the C-suite. Last year, we helped a major East Coast university save over $1.3 million on their subscription costs when they moved to NetApp. Not only that, we lowered their compute costs by 25%, their networking costs by 50%, and their backup and security costs by 65%. Now, this week, we're super excited. We announced something that should make SAP customers happy. Many, if not most of these customers are moving to S/4HANA. The new partnership between NetApp, VMware, Equinix, and Cochasoft will help these SAP customers run S/4HANA on VMware Cloud Foundation and ONTAP in the world-class managed services environment of Equinix. Reduce cost, reduce time, reduce labor. Again, these are the outcomes that get the attention of our customer C-suite and the customers that they serve. Third, we've got NVIDIA, the catalyst propelling the AI era. NetApp's new AI data engine leverages NVIDIA's AI data platform technology at its core and will run on their latest inferencing hardware, the RTX Pro 6000 server. We're also very excited that NetApp AFX has been SuperPod certified for their latest and greatest GB300 compute platform. In short, NetApp AFX and our AI data engine completely changed the game for enterprise storage. Enterprises will no longer just store bits and bytes. They'll store a semantic understanding of the business, which unleashes unprecedented possibilities. Imagine, for instance, if you could predict how the market will accept your new product or service based on qualitative and quantitative data that have been previously locked up in spreadsheets and PowerPoints. Imagine what having a semantic understanding of the business can do for manufacturing, for retail, for utility companies. When we talk about cross-innovation, we're not just talking about product announcements. We're talking about game-changing possibilities. The same goes for our last example and our long-term partnership with Cisco, the world's most ubiquitous networking company, who we are super proud and honored to partner with to propel our customers' AI success. Last year, we launched FlexPod for AI in partnership with Cisco. This was a Gen AI solution that set the gold standard in workload testing. Now, this week, very excited to announce the next level of this co-innovation with Cisco with FlexPod AI for model training, which is integrated with Cisco servers powered by NVIDIA GPUs. Think about the outcomes. A hospital could leverage this co-innovation to analyze medical imaging and more accurately and more quickly get to results. They can help tailor therapies based on patient history and genetics, improving recovery rates, and delivering better patient outcomes as well. FlexPod AI will help manufacturers, as an example, provide predictive maintenance on machinery, reducing downtime and extending equipment life, or optimizing supply chain logistics and lowering operating costs. The possibilities are truly mind-blowing, and I cannot wait to see what it enables for our customers. Now, we're not the only ones super excited about this partnership. Let's take a quick look.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeetu Patel. I'm the President and Chief Product Officer at Cisco. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with all of you in person for this very special event that NetApp hosts every year. Look, Cisco and NetApp have been partners for a very long time. We've helped thousands of customers modernize their data center. But what we want to do is take it a step further and fundamentally reimagine the architecture of data centers. And so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do 3 specific things to make it happen. Number 1, we're going to operationalize any AI use case for faster and lower cost with a Cisco validated FlexPod design. Number 2, we want to make sure that we integrate the Nexus switches into NetApp AFX architecture so that we can have better performance, reliability delivered at scale. And number 3, we're going to integrate the Splunk Observability Cloud into the NetApp data services so that we can provide insights for machine data at scale with high velocity. And so thank you again for betting on NetApp and on betting on Cisco. We are joined in the hip and working to partner tightly together so that we can add value to you. And this is just the beginning. There's much, much more to come. Thanks again for having me, and have a great show.
Thank you. Thank you to Jeetu Patel and the entire Cisco team. We're very excited about the future. Now, as I close, at the end of the day, customers just don't want AI technology. We hear this all the time from partners and customers. You want tangible, outcome-driven solutions that'll drive AI success that ultimately unlocks top-line and bottom-line performance. But like I said, we cannot and we do not do this alone. Our partners and alliances are the ones who bring this to life for our customers. And I'm incredibly proud and grateful to each and every one of them. And I really cannot wait to achieve even more powerful outcomes with all of you together. That's all for me this morning. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great insight.
Creativity needs more than inspiration. It needs a foundation, powerful enough for petabytes of data, intelligent enough to drive AI, resilient enough to protect every frame, every file, every story. It's global, collaborative, and it can only happen in the cloud. But as ideas scale, so does complexity. At Create, we've built a unified multi-tenant platform for the speed and scale of modern media production. A platform as bold as the award-winning creatives who use it. With Amazon FSx for NetApp on tap, we give our platform a backbone built for the future. It gives us a strategic edge, reducing VDI data costs, delivering high performance at scale, and winning customers that demand nothing less. For a global gaming studio with 100 artists and 18,000 compute hours each month, FSx for ONTAP delivers unmatched performance, efficiency, and trust. Now, creative teams connect, share, and produce at the pace of inspiration. Every creative session, every new file, every breakthrough, backed by technology built to support limitless possibilities. Because resilience isn't just defense, it's the power to go further, to create boldly, to collaborate without limits, to ignite brilliance in the cloud, innovation without compromise. This new era of creativity is accessible to everyone, not just big companies with big budgets. Together, Create and NetApp aren't just optimizing workflows. We're powering boundless creativity where extraordinary work happens anywhere, anytime.
Please welcome Jenni Flinders.
Well, from backstage, I can hear that you are super energized and you having fun. So here at NetApp, we actually empower our partners to lead the way with you, delivering on amazing outcomes for your business needs across our solution portfolio. And our partners are evolving as the markets are evolving. In fact, if you look at just AI and cybersecurity, with nearly $500 billion in overall market opportunity just this year alone, we're also experiencing the resurgence of infrastructure growth, which is amazing. with data and analytic needs that are really expanding. So our customers here should take advantage of the power of our partners and NetApp to help unleash your potential. Just in this room alone, and I want to hear it from you, there are over 1,400 partners here. And if you look at the numbers behind me, they are the best and the most capable in the industry. And you can see we've got them right here, energized, ready to learn and ready to engage with you. And in fact, I'll break it down a little bit more. In this room, I have 96 partners that are ready to have an AI conversation with you. I have 187 partners in this room that can help you with cloud transformation. I have 389 that are able to help you deliver on your critical cyber resilience needs. And I have 576 partners in this room that can help with your data infrastructure modernization. They are the experts. So give a round of applause to our partners out there. So you, our customers, trust our partners, and we do too. They bring together the best of what we have and what they have to you. We work with our partners to build additional services offerings that can help you through your long-term transformational journeys. And then our flexible Keystone offering and as a service delivery really ensures that we can adapt to any engagement with you, making sure that we can accelerate time to value for our customers with our partners. So data is the heart of AI, right? Right? So AI runs on data. Data runs on? There you go. Great. Just checking to see if everybody's still with us. All right, we are the intelligent data infrastructure company. You've heard this time and time again. And our products and solutions help address the critical business needs that all of our customers have out there. So, enough from me. Why don't we hear from one of our partners who's going to tell you a little bit more. Roll the video.
Thank you so much for having me and Worldwide Technology as part of your Insight Kickoff. We could not be more excited. We very much appreciate the partnership, the collaboration, the innovation, and all the things that are going on relative to our two organizations and the impact we're having on our customers in regards to this incredible opportunity in front of us around generative AI. To do it and to do it together and to provide customers with a level of innovation, collaboration, security, and trust in regards to how we help them enable their organizations to take advantage of this massive AI transformation is just incredibly exciting. And there's no one else we'd like to do it with other than George, yourself, and the NetApp team. So thank you guys so much for all you do, and thank you for this great partnership.
Thank you, Jim, and the Worldwide Technology team for your fantastic long-standing relationship with us. So let's pivot a little bit into how our partners are actually helping our customers delivering on some of those imperatives that you heard early on from Cesar. First of all, with data infrastructure modernization, partners can help by employing modern data virtualization, leveraging our robust toolkits that we have, our services offerings that we have, as well as our technical specialists who are the best around block. So they can really help you there. With AI, partners are delivering outcomes today, whether it be around RAG, inferencing, machine learning, or democratizing AI from moving from, instead of build to buy with AI Pod Mini, which is really fantastic, and providing you the flexible AI opportunities and helping you realize that from infrastructure to the cloud. Now, for cloud transformation, remember I told you we have all these partners in the room that can help you do this. For cloud transformation, our partners can deliver across all industries, verticals, and specific use cases within healthcare, financial services, education, government. And finally, cyber resilience. It's critical, and our partners know that. And you can rely on them to ensure that they take our autonomous ransomware protection and the rigid alignment that we have with leading industry security standards, and they can deliver for you. So simply put, partners are accelerating your digital transformation. Partners are empowered to lead with our solution portfolio, and partners are ready to unlock your AI potential. Now, speaking of unlocking potential, I actually want to highlight another partner. So every year, I give out on this stage the Partner Innovation Award. And this year, I would like to recognize a partner who has demonstrated how they are solving customer challenges today around security. We are very proud to recognize this partner for what they're doing around cyber resilience. It's a framework that is built on NetApp data protection and security assessment. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the team from ProAct. If you will please stand up. You are the winners of the Partner Innovation Award this year. Thank you very much for everything that you do. All right, so to close us out, I am going to test all of your dexterity and agility. Are you ready? Okay, let's see if you can do this. Take out your phones. And I want you to open up your camera app. Follow me? You better get ready. Because today, we are very excited to announce that we are offering our customers here NetApp's ransomware resilience fully featured for 6 months for free. Did you get that? For 6 months for free here, and I want you, are your phones ready? Okay, get ready to scan the code so you can take heed of this opportunity. Got it? It's gonna go away. Not for 6 months, though. All right, so you've also heard a lot of announcements over the last 2 days around products and solutions. So what I'm also going to do is give you another QR code so that you can leave here to be able to recap all of the amazing stuff that we have shared with you. So keep your cameras snapping. 2 takeaways I'm going to leave you with. Take advantage of this amazing offer. It's got like ransomware resilience, all the bells and whistles, 6 months free. Take advantage of it. And work with your partners to understand how they can help you through your transformational journey as we leave here today. So with that, I hope you were quick with your cameras, and I hope you got the links. And I thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of Insight.
Every transformation begins with a spark. At Infor, that spark is powered by data fueling our built-for-industry cloud software. Infor solutions turn complexity into clarity and insights into action. But transforming industries at speed takes so much more than just great software. It takes a foundation built for intelligence, resilience, and scale. Cybersecurity is built in from the start. Snapshot protection, disaster recovery, and cyber-resilient architecture. We safeguard the systems that keep industries moving. Whether it's manufacturing plants, healthcare networks, or global supply chains. Together, we deliver intelligent data infrastructure that accelerates AI, protects critical information, and ensures every system performs exactly where and when it's needed. Infor builds the solutions that power industries. NetApp gives us the confidence to deliver them, fast, secure, and intelligent. Because when the right vision meets the right foundation, transformation isn't possible, it's inevitable.
Round of applause for that. Okay, everybody, I think you're really, yes, give it up, that's great, give it up, absolutely. I think you're gonna love this next segment. Let me ask you a quick question. Who here loves football? Yes, we have football fans here. You know who else loves football? You. NetApp loves football, and they have the partnerships to prove it. In this next conversation, Cesar is going to speak with partners from two of the most prominent football organizations, the NFL itself and the San Francisco 49ers. But first, let's take a look at this.
The NFL is flooded with data from so many different areas. From a data standpoint, truly is part of our overall DNA. We have global partners like NetApp that can help expand our brand and help grow the game of football on our efforts globally.
The NFL is extremely data rich. The ability to disaggregate that data using compute and storage separately to be able to produce outcomes that our fans enjoy. Unlock performance using data, that means getting better on the field, that means getting better with making critical operational decisions. That drives the league as we move towards the future. Everything around customer experience starts at the foundation, and the foundation is the ability to have the proper infrastructure in place that allows you to scale when you need to scale.
The NFL, confidence is important from a leadership standpoint. I mean, data is truly such a part of how we function that if we are not confident in the products that we're using and the systems that we have in place, then we are going to be scrutinized and we're not going to have a leg to stand on.
A lot of tools don't really provide that data management, but also really cyber resilience, protect our players, evolve the fan experience. As we start to expand globally, how we schedule games, what country should we play in, what markets should we enter into. And so data is the compass for us. Our games are being played at a high level using technology without any gaps. So when we see our fans smile, we've really done our job. NetApp is at the core of our cloud storage strategy. NetApp is at the core of helping us bringing all of that unified data into one platform for us to be able to use it today.
Confidence in my role is incredibly important, and you have to know all angles of what you're doing and when you're laying out the strategy. That's what creates confidence, knowledge.
Let's go, dominate, one at a time.
The relationship between technology, data, and performance in the world of football is huge. We have 70,000 people coming to us every Sunday. We have one chance to do it right. So getting the right data at the right time to the right people to make the right decisions in our stadium and with our team are imperative. Intelligent data infrastructure empowers our organization to drive success by giving us the metrics we need to grow and help the team perform on and off the field. NetApp is helping the 49ers with our data infrastructure and AI. As AI grows and continues to grow, we're going to need more data to really fine-tune the systems. NetApp gives us that foundation with their storage. Collaboration between technology and engineering makes a huge difference in our organization. We have to work together, we have to work at lockstep to make sure that what we do is possible and create the impossible for our fans to enjoy. Cyber resilience is incredibly important to us. NetApp is helping us with our security strategy as it affects our data infrastructure by having the tools and technology in place to make sure that our data is safe and sound and doesn't get into the wrong hands, allowing us to focus on what we do with that data instead of just protecting that data. And NetApp enables us to make sure that our data infrastructure has a 100% uptime. Fans want to enjoy the experience, and NetApp helps us do that. Success looks like what it looks like for everyone in our organization. Bring a Super Bowl home to our fans and make sure that they have the best time possible. We chose NetApp to help us lay the foundation for an incredible fan experience. We needed an industry leader. We wanted to make sure to partner with the best to help us get to that next level, and we knew NetApp was the right company to do it with.
Okay, here we are. Hi, everyone. As I shared before, I'm incredibly proud to be here with all of you. So we have here Tracy Rodwer, SVP of Global Partnerships at NFL. Tracy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Aaron Amendolia, Deputy CIO of the NFL. And we also have Costa Cladianos.
Perfect.
Which is our, he's the head of technology for the San Francisco 49ers. Thank you so much for joining us. Earlier today, we heard from our product leaders and customers, how NetApp is providing solutions that connect vision and execution with our customers. Now, we're going to hear from some of the most, rebrand brands in sports globally, not just in the US, which is the NFL and the 49ers. But before we dive in, let me set up a little bit the stage around this, right? In sports today, there's no difference with our other industries or enterprise. You cannot anticipate what your fans, want before they even ask. Someone else will. So you need to go and anticipate to that, right? We're talking about an environment where streaming real-time stats, personalized experiences, global reach all collide. Technology is no longer just supporting the business. Actually, technology, as we have discussed more than once, is your new business. Is the reason why the NFL and the 49ers are partnering with NetApp, and we're super proud to partner with you. And certainly, my goal today is to show how that innovation comes into action. So with that, probably Tracy, I'm going to start with you.
Great.
I think, when we talk about NFL is not just a sport. I think it's one of the most iconic and powerful businesses in the world. I would love you to kind of share a little bit more about, why is this business of sports such a big thing and such a big deal?
Yeah, it isn't just a business, it's culture. It is truly part of our everyday lives. It is part of your conversations. And all of that is because of how passionate our fans are all over the world. And it's that passion that drives the conversation, which then drives us to create content, that drives us to put on these amazing games, these experiences. There's just this insatiable need for anything around the NFL. And we really have an impact across all the communities that we touch. We really drive economies when we're going into these markets and impacting countries and governments. And our games that we bring in, everything around the NFL is really, it's more of like an enterprise. Yeah. There's players, there's clubs, and there's our fans, which are the core to everything we do.
That's really interesting. When you always talk about that enterprise, and Aaron, we were having an interview yesterday together, right, at the Cube. And you talk about that. So since game day, those operate like a truly large enterprise. When it comes to technology, what does that mean for fans and game day? And why technology is such an important part of your, player experience?
Well, it starts with our fans. They're number one, and they have very high expectations. So there's a lot to go into game day, a lot of technology, and a lot of our operations are all tied to technology, but in the end, our goal is to exceed our fans' expectations. And innovation's at the core of that, but innovation can't be disruptive to the way we operate. It has to fit within it, right? And so we've built this infrastructure. We've built a lot of it on NetApp. And it's an intelligent infrastructure because all of the massive amount of data we're taking in, whether it's video and game feeds or data from our sensors, this is all being stored to create that experience.
You want to share how much data you generate per game?
Yeah, so 1.4 terabytes per game and about 0.5 petabyte per year in just game footage. And there's all other data around that as well. And that's all different purposes that's being used for. So we don't want our fans to be knowing these details or thinking about them. We want them just to have the passion experience that comes from it.
Yeah. Costas, let's talk about the team level, right? And what I would love you to share a little bit with us is the Levi's Stadium is known as one of the most connected venues in sports. Give us a little bit of, how do you bring this to scale at the stadium level?
Yeah, for us at Levi's Stadium, I think there's three guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the need for more data.
Right.
And what we have is we just put in the world's largest outdoor 4K video boards. It's an incredible amount of data that's going through the system. On a game day, we're monitoring everything from parking to ticketing to concession stands to just the general experience, the utilities in the stadium, and we're using petabytes of data. It's an incredible amount that flows through. We need to be able to make sure that it's highly available, it's quick, it's redundant, and it has integrity. And that's why we rely on NetApp and their intelligent data infrastructure to help create that foundation for us on game day to make sure that fans aren't worried about what's going on in the stadium and they're just enjoying the game on the field.
Yeah. And I was going to say, game day is like running a Fortune 500 company, and that stadium is our data center. And then we take that, and we do that across the world. We're popping up, and we're borrowing a stadium just for a day and making a data center out of it. So you think of all the data that's in there, the ticketing, the concessions, all those things that cost us using to run it. But then we're also capturing everything for officiating it, bringing it back centrally, and also capturing everything that comes out of that as far as player health and safety and all the things that run our game. So real time is really a part of it and a huge part of it.
I think this is very connected to one of the things that I want to talk to Tracy about, which is the international expansion and the scale. Yesterday, Aaron, you were giving me some numbers. You were telling me when you go and move, and do this international games, you need to kind of, some cases move 80% of that data center and technology to run it, right?
Everything. I mean, we have a huge global footprint. We've just played, I was in Dublin and then London. We're going to Berlin. We'll see you in Madrid.
Oh, I'm super excited about that.
Next year we'll be in Australia for the first time. And what's driving this is really the insights that we got from the data of our fans all around the world. They crave the NFL, and bringing our game is a result of that passion and that interest that they have. But we do not travel light. I mean, we need that game to be exactly like the game that you're going to see in the US. So it has to be seamless for everybody. And that's where we're technically borrowing these stadiums for a day to play. And so all of our technology, from everything from the players' communication, the coaches' communication, everything from the tickets, getting in, the concessions, the ease of getting to a game is so important to us because we want that same experience. So we bring everything, we set up everything. Aaron lives in these countries for weeks prior.
Passport is very stamped.
Exactly. He's getting different citizenships in different countries around the world because he has to set up these infrastructures in order for us to deliver the best product to our fans globally.
And there's a culture to technology. The way we do an NFL game, we want to bring that with us and use technology to tell that story. I've worked with local stadiums, and together we've collaborated. Sometimes we learn that someone in a stadium in Germany is doing something really amazing, and we want to apply that back to us. But then we also share what we're doing in a stadium like Levi's, some of this cutting-edge technology, and we bring it to these markets, and we learn, and it's a cultural exchange.
Look, and I was telling Tracy before, I met the head of tourism of Madrid City the other day. And I was shocked. I mean, he didn't know about our sponsorship and partnership with NFL and the fact we're going to be there with you. And he was sharing with me, actually, how many people from the US was traveling just for the game and from all over Europe. So it really resonates to me, that fan experience, and say we want to have a consistent experience for everyone. Now, one of the things that I would like to ask you, probably Aaron or Costa, actually to both of you, is around security. There's no doubt all this amount of data and that experience puts a lot of challenge as well on the security side. Any comments from your side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously as a big brand, we're a target, and we have to protect our environment. So we also handle a lot of fan data, and that fan trust is essential to us, that we're protecting their data and doing it in all the different standards across the world. So the built-in capabilities of NetApp, not only to encrypt our data at rest and in transit, but also to use the Snap tools to protect our data and have high availability. These are essential to us because I have to have confidence and go to my executive team and say, this is going to work anywhere, and we're protecting our data because it's built into this infrastructure.
Yeah, and like Aaron says, we're a huge target. We're a visible target. I mean, we have the 49ers. We're hosting the Super Bowl this year. We're hosting the World Cup. With that, we have to make sure that our fans' data is incredibly secure. We know that the threats are coming known and unknown. So we needed a system that not only protects what we have now in the known targets, but something that can evolve and work with us when new targets or new threats evolve. So it lets me sleep at night knowing that we have NetApp to help us store and protect the data of our fans, and let us focus on creating 70,000 VIP experiences on game day versus running around trying to close the doors everywhere.
Right. Yeah, one thing that I think will be great. Yesterday, I got that question, Arno, when we were in the interview, where basically the journalist was asking me, how much have we learned from different industries that we brought to you, to the NFL, right, as a feedback. We talk about Formula One, but we also talk about financial services or healthcare, and you name it. But now I'm going to do the opposite question, which is, what will you tell when you talk about the game day as an enterprise, end-to-end, Fortune 500, you just said, real company. What will you share with this audience about your learnings and how you can help?
It's a lot, right? The one thing that, and Costa said before, like the role of data is growing and it's evolved significantly. So I've been at the league 22 years. When I first started, the game day was a much lighter operation, mostly around statistics. But now you move forward to the future, and the way we're taking in everything that's capturing, all the hundreds of cameras that are in the stadium, whether they're ours or our partners, and the sensors on the players, it's just a massive increase in the amount of information being shared. And then for the different purposes, it's going for broadcast purposes, it's going for fan engagement purposes, stadium operations, and then we want to look at it reflectively and get insights to help us keep improving in the future. And that continuous improvement drives us. And I think that drives all companies, and that's why there is a Fortune 500, right? Those continuous improvement to get to that level.
It also drives, though, our decision-making, like throughout everything we do, whether it's about how we market our brand and who we market it to and when. We reach fans from 8 to 80, so it's using that data to be really thoughtful about the messaging that you're delivering, where you're delivering the message, but then also for player health and safety to decide where we are going to play our games. All of that is from the data that we're getting, we're collecting. So it is a critical part of everything that we do.
Because let me ask you a little bit about our partnership and AI. Have you heard about AI?
We just heard about it backstage.
About it. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, how we are helping you. What are you doing with NetApp on your AI journey? And probably I will also like to hear from NFL.
Yeah, so at Levi's, we're becoming the world's most intelligent stadium. We started off the world's most connected stadium. That's table stakes now. So what I say when I mean the world's most intelligent stadium, I touched on it earlier, we want to create 70,000 VIP experiences, whether that's, easy parking, coming in through the gates, knowing what you like to eat and drink, or being able to follow your favorite player and statistics on the field. We want to make sure we know you. And to be able to know our fans, we need to have a lot of data coming in. And we need to have a lot of good data, fast data, and secure data. So, when we went out there and looked for a partnership, it was just a no-brainer to use NetApp. We wanted to use the best in the industry. We could not afford to make a mistake. You have 10 to 12 chances to get it right on game day, so we can't fool around. So that's why, choosing NetApp was a no-brainer for us. And then as we look forward, and we're looking at introducing an app with AI built in and understanding the fans' experiences and making it really an interactive day, because we know that it's easy for you as a fan to stay at home and watch it on your couch and have your snack. So we want to make sure that game day is special for you, and AI is going to be a huge part of that, but that has to be built on a foundation. And the foundation that NetApp has with their intelligent data infrastructure is exactly what we needed to just kind of start moving forward and building this incredible experience at Levi's when people come to the game.
Yeah. Is that a 49ers fan or is it a NetApp fan?
Fan club here.
Right. You could be both, yeah. It's really the same for us. This partnership came at the perfect time as we get more into AI and the uses. We have a whole AI committee. We present to the owners, we present to the coaches on how to use it, keeping competitive advantages for teams, ensuring that we're protecting our data. And so that's why when we had those initial conversations, we know this is an area that we're getting into, and how we do it and who we do it with is critical. And so that's why using NetApp is so important.
Well, I can tell you that it has been a pleasure for us. Not just to have all these conversations, I must say that, it took us some time, right? To go and get to know each other better. We've been teaming up with NFL for many years, also with 49ers, but I must admit, because I've been personally involved in this discussion, that I've been impressed on how you're embracing technology and using technology to differentiate yourselves, but at the same time, to bring that experience, real experience, to your fans and, to the stadiums. Before we wrap up, I will remember one thing that Costas told me and asked me as we were having, this discussion about our technology. One of the things he asked me, said, do you think with NetApp we're going to win more games? And I said, sure. So anyway, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you. And let's give them a big round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't say sure, just to be clear. I don't like to oversell. So anyway, I really hope that all of us have seen the power of technology, and in this case, how we've been working with the NFL and 49ers to build this intelligent data infrastructure and really helping them and enabling them in this data journey. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if there's sports or even the healthcare or FSI or retail or manufacturing, you name it. I get this question many times. Say, hey, which industry is leading on the AI side? Which industry is leading, on the digital transformation? And I always say, look, all industries, every single of us are really embracing data, and data is at the heart of AI. And the good news is with NetApp, that's precisely what we do. Helping you, to protect, to manage, to store your data by building this intelligent data infrastructure. As I wrap up the keynotes of day one of the things that I really like about Insight, and I want to encourage all of us, all of you, is to take advantage of your peers. It's not just NetApp and you as a customer or NetApp as you as a partner. It's actually the strength of having here thousands of customers, thousands of partners, NetApp people, because we all can learn from each other. At NetApp, we are proud of our culture, and we talk about this growth mindset. And that growth mindset is based on being able and open to learn from all of you. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for making us better and greater, thanks to you. But I think these sessions really help us, to get better, to learn, to get feedback, and to, help each other. I hope that you enjoy the sessions earlier where we saw real cases, how Mahindra is using their technology and our technology in their labs, or how Red Hat is building an intelligent data infrastructure to really enable them and speed up on AI, or Create, software as a service vendor using FSx on tap to build their data platform, or Infor, where they really want to bring AI to their customers, through an intelligent data infrastructure. Those are real examples, like many of you have, which I think is important that we share so we all can learn from them. At the end of the day, for me, there's three big things. One, innovation is not just part of NetApp's story. It's actually our story. Look, George, our CEO yesterday, in his opening, he could have gone in a completely different way. But he decided actually in his opening to share these 30+ years history of NetApp to demonstrate our commitment to your success by ensuring that we protect what we call the customer life cycle, the entire customer life cycle. We appreciate when you make decisions to invest in us, that we need to protect those investments to you. To ensure that our technology will be an enabler for you to be able to adopt whatever comes next. Today, all of us are talking about AI, but we need to prepare that data for AI. At the same time, NetApp turns bold vision into real-world execution. In other words, when we talk about intelligent data infrastructure, what we're really saying is, how do we move all this vision into real execution? We want to make sure that the investments that you have made, we can really turn them into real execution and outcomes. And those outcomes are done through our partner ecosystem. At the end of the day, we build technology. We try to work with the key leaders to ensure that we can bring that to you. The work that we've been doing the last years with hyperscalers, or even the announcement that we made yesterday with NVIDIA, and the way we're working, in the back office, if you wish, is to make sure that we bring that to you through our partners where they can build these solutions and enable you for your success. I'd like to close with something that really means for us at NetApp. We can bring all this technology, we can bring the intelligent data infrastructure to you, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. At the end of the day, as Gabie said yesterday, we connect technology with people. And you're the reason data becomes intelligence. And you are the one that it really helps us to get here, and intelligence becomes impact. and together, we unleash genius. And you're going to see more about this with us. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to bring all the ecosystem together. We're going to keep working with the hyperscalers, with NVIDIA, with OEMs, and the top partners to enable you to be successful. So with that, I hope that you have a great sessions the rest of the day. Tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of different breakouts. I'm looking forward to meet you, to see you. I'm looking forward to see you tonight at the party. And with that, I want to say thank you all for being here, and let's have a great insight. Thank you all.
Cesar, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that awesome panel. That was fantastic. All right, everyone, we really appreciate you being here. Look, this has been a pleasure and a true honor. Huge thanks to Cesar and the whole NetApp team. You know, I was doing some quick thinking before we all break out for a second. Some of the highlights that NetApp has been experiencing. You know, I've been coming to this for a few years. I'm in tech myself. We're building an AI SaaS company. And so when I look at the partnerships, NetApp and NVIDIA, that partnership is major. New products like AFX, disaggregated on tap, major. AI data engine and NetApp ransomware resilience. And how about that partnership with the NFL and 49ers? How cool is that, right? And you can't say cool without saying unleash genius, which is what you all are doing. Look, one of my favorite moments was learning about NetApp on NetApp. The idea that you all are not only delivering intelligent solutions, you actually use them to run your business, and that was really cool to see. So that about does it for our program today. But the festival grounds, the breakout sessions, and Encore's Let's Celebrate party is all going down today. And tomorrow the fun continues with more hands-on labs, breakouts, and a final fireside chat. I know you all are going to have a blast. Sadly, this is my moment to say goodbye. It's always a pleasure being with you. I want to get a few more selfies before I'm out of here. I'm Mario Armstrong. I will see you back next year. And if I haven't forgotten about you online audience, stay for On Air with Nick Howell. DJ Graffiti, take us out. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.
All right, guys. Thank you, Mario, for sending it back over here to the expo or the festival grounds for NetApp On Air Snapshot. We have got more interviews for you today, more updates, more continued coverage beyond the keynote, getting into some of the details and special features and presentations of what's going on here at NetApp Insight 2025. I want to give a quick reminder, if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Lots of good video and content going up there. We also do this live stream on a weekly basis. We have lots of stuff to cover with all of these announcements this week. Starting next Wednesday, we'll be jumping right back into our regular routine. The easiest way to keep up with all of those is to head over to Discord. Yes, we do have an official NetApp Discord community. Shout out to everybody watching over there and chatting along with us in the Insight chat channel. But if you're not in there yet, head to discord.gg/NetApp or just go to netappdiscord.com and click the join button there. We're going to dive right in today because we have a full-packed calendar schedule of guests for you for the next 2 hours. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and we're going to jump right into it with our first guests. Kicking things off today, we have some guests that I've been wanting to get on air for some time now, for the 2 years that we've been doing this show. They are an absolute staple part of the event at Insight every single year. They run our hands-on labs, and outside of the event at Insight, you can access this stuff year-round in NetApp's Lab on Demand. So I want to introduce Brian and Marcin. Is that the rubber? Yes. Brian and Marcin from the Lab on Demand crew here at NetApp. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I first want to start off with, can you give me a breakdown of what Lab on Demand is?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Lab on Demand is the perfect way to get hands-on experience with the various products and solutions that NetApp offers without having to spend time deploying them on-premise in your environment. That's kind of big takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, all you need is your NetApp support site account and a valid support agreement. You log into labondemand.netapp.com. We give you basically a sandbox environment. We give you a lab guide and show you everything we got. You can keep the lab for a couple days, try things out. If you break anything, you throw it away and get a fresh copy.
Yeah.
Great way to learn new features, try new versions, and not have to deploy anything in your data center on hardware.
So this is great not only for customers to come in and try some of our new products and solutions, but our partners use this pretty heavily as well. So when they're laying things out, doing proof of concepts or any of that kind of stuff, they might come in and tinker with different solutions, some of the new products. But like you said, without having to roll in a rack full of gear, without having to do a bunch of installation of things, a lot of this stuff you guys have sort of prescripted as far as rolling it out for these prescriptive environments. How does that operate behind the scenes? What are some of the mechanics that you guys do to offload that from them having to do all of that stuff that makes it easier?
Yeah, so we operate basically without hardware for the ONTAP side of things. We use an ONTAP virtual simulator.
Yep.
Basically, we get it from engineering, and it runs all the same goodness that it would run on hardware, but it's all virtualized. So again, we can throw it away. We pre-provision labs for the user, so once you connect, you're getting one that was spun up an hour ago, and it's fresh, and it really is on demand. Yeah.
Nice. Any special sort of workloads or anything that you guys have a special interest in? What are the main things that you see? I guess I'll ask it a different way. What's the most popular lab that you see people taking these days?
Believe it or not, so a couple years ago, we decided to help the ONTAP product team and do some early adopter labs and some early access labs. So we've been working with product teams pretty early to basically showcase new features, and those are some of our most popular labs. People just want to try things out. And
just kind of ONTAP fundamentals?
It's new payload for new releases. If they want to try, our basic stuff is always popular. Upgrading ONTAP, if you haven't done it in a while, you can go through the lab. Really easy to do, no risk, and it's free.
So Lab on Demand, outside the construct of Insight, we have the hands-on labs here, which is basically we bring Lab on Demand to the show for people to use, right? But this operates 24/7, 365 around the globe. It's accessible to any of our customers and partners. Are those still the stipulations, or can anybody that maybe isn't a NetApp customer come in and try something before they buy?
Yeah, so there's another service that we offer other than Lab on Demand called Test Drive.
Yeah.
And you can go right to NetApp.com if you're not currently a customer, and you go right into NetApp.com. There's a section for test drives, and they're smaller run labs, shorter lab guides, kind of just meant to give you a little bit of a taste, but then we'll follow up with a lead and basically say, hey, do you want somebody to come talk to you? Do you want the next version of the journey for a sales customer? But once we're into Lab on Demand, everything customers get, like most of the labs we have here at Insight, we release a lot of new content because of all the big announcements. If it's not already in Lab on Demand, it'll be shortly. So they'll be able to, if you didn't come to the event, you can still go to Lab on Demand year round.
What's required? Do they have to have a Now account, or I still call it a Now account, a NetApp account to be able to log in?
NetApp support site credentials and current support agreement.
Nice. So if you've registered your systems, if you've worked with your account team to get an account set up in advance of a purchase, you can take the test drives, you can do all of those sorts of things?
Well, you don't have, if you have that, you don't need the test drives. You go right to Lab on Demand. We're giving you what we give our field, and you can just try things out. But we do have another service, Boot Camp. You want to talk about Boot Camp?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I mean, Lab on Demand is very much an individual experience, right? But if you wanted to host a workshop or a group engagement, then our bootcamp service is the way to go. I encourage customers to reach out.
What is the bootcamp service?
Right.
Let's break that down.
Basically, it's the same set of labs that we offer in Lab on Demand, but we're able to deliver it in a group setting. So like all the labs will be pre-provisioned, ready to go, and there'll be an organizer that's kind of in charge of it.
Gotcha.
Someone from the sales team or a partner, and maybe like a lunch and learn is a perfect way to fill in. And again, it's any lab that's available in Lab on Demand can be delivered in this group setting.
Yeah.
So for our account teams or our PS teams to do, who typically puts these kind of workshops together? Are we seeing our internal resources or partners using this?
Yes, certainly the partners use it for like keeping their staff trained up, maybe for like certifications that they have to maintain. The Executive Briefing Center in NetApp uses Bootcamp to host sessions for executives and customer groups that they bring in.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And the nice thing about Bootcamp is we have a lot more labs in Lab on Demand that the field can get to, the sales and partners, that customers can't see. Some of them have cloud costs associated with them.
Yeah.
We can still deliver that through a Bootcamp, even though the customer can't get it self-service.
Okay. Yeah, so that way we don't have to incur those costs. We can sort of host it ourselves in a way internally in a nested environment.
control the runtime of the labs, keep the costs down, but we still get the content out.
Nice, nice. Talk to me about the back end. What does this look like under the covers for all of us nerds out there that really want to know how these kinds of things work? Because there's a lot of us out there that are home labbers. We build these kind of things on our own. We want to test and play. We want to push all the buttons and see what breaks, right? A lot of that is really why these sorts of lab on demand kind of things exist. But some of us like to touch the gear. Some of us like to play with the toys too. We love building our own sandboxes, and I say that myself as one of those people. So if that's you, I identify with you. What is the insides? What do the guts look like of this sort of environment?
So I'll start with what my team does, and then I'll hand it over to Marcin.
Sure.
So I handle the content team. My team basically builds all the content. They build the labs, and we have basically what it amounts to a SnapMirror source. So everything that's done in Lab on Demand is all because of ONTAP. We use the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So we've got an environment. We build a lab. We seal it up, we attach a lab guide, and then we pretty much trigger off a SnapMirror, and then that goes over to basically Marcin's team to do the final mile of the delivery there.
Right, on the operations side, the infrastructure side, there's a good amount of secret sauce, which is our middleware orchestration layer that automates the entire process. But on the hardware end of things, we have kind of like a hub and spoke model with the core pod, which is a hypervisor and storage where Brian's team develops the labs, and then we snap mirror those out to our production pods, which are more hypervisors, storage, network, and it's from those production pods that we have roughly 8 or 10 of right now that we serve the labs from.
So can those be looked at as like templates that anytime a user comes in and it's a template is spun up out of one of that sort of gold master pod?
So the SnapMirror destination is a copy of the template. And when you request a lab, you're actually getting a Flex clone off the SnapMirror destination.
That's beautiful.
So it's super
that.
fast.
Yeah.
It boots up very quickly. We just register everything with our hypervisor underneath, and then users connect to it, and then when it goes away, we're deleting a Flex clone.
Yeah, I want to focus in on that, the UX side of it as well, because I think that's important. This has come a long way in the last 10 to 15 years. The way that you can go in, labondemand.netapp.com, I believe is the website for all of you out there that want to give it a try. You can go in and basically pick from a menu, right? There's a menu of things that you want to try out. You click on it, you type in some neat information if it's necessary, and click deploy, or whatever the button is.
Yeah, request.
And you kind of just hang out for a second. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer depending on what you're deploying, but it's pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time there is no finger twiddling. Most of the time
it launches you straight into the environment. Yeah.
Some of the magic sauce that I mentioned earlier is kind of a mechanism that tries to anticipate what labs people are requesting based on historical patterns. So we pre-provision a good amount of labs and have them.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
So they stay unassigned running, and then when you request it, we just assign it to you, and you can get to it.
It's kind of the same concept we used a long time ago with virtual desktops.
Yeah,
that's really if you were doing a big VMware View deployment or something like that, you would have sort of 100 desktop environments pre-provisioned, waiting for when we did it for boot storms and things like that a long time ago. What else do we want to talk about? What's special about hands-on labs specifically? Is there anything different when you take something like that and bring it to the event, or is it just an internet connection back to?
Well, the key thing is we integrate with the event, and so people come in and they enter their user ID on their badge to get in, so we know who they are and they can get the lab. But the experience is almost identical to boot camp. We're pre-provisioning these labs and we're keeping track of which ones are popular. This year, we have labs for AFX, we have labs for AIDE, we have a bunch for NetApp console and the data services. So we have them ready. You come right in and sit down. Same thing as Lab on Demand. It's all the same stuff.
But to your point, I mean, just as the UX has changed over time, our deployment method here on site has also changed. I've only been involved in the past 3 Insight events, but going back to 2012, we used to bring a lot of physical gear on site.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, an entire rack of equipment. But nowadays, it is mostly just a VPN internet connection back to our data centers and RTP, and we have a very small deployment here. So all the labs that we're delivering here at Hands-On Labs during Insight are running back on those production pods in RTP.
That's what that's what I was trying to get to. Great point. So we're not actually hosting them here. All of the labs all of the labs that the users or the attendees are taking here are basically the same ones that they could take tomorrow 100%. In labondemand.netapp.com, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So is there anything, I love the thing that you said just a second ago, Brian. So we use Lab on Demand or the hands-on labs here for new things that we are announcing. Mm-hmm. We sort of pre-stage new labs and people get exposed to them for the first time while they're here at the event after the announcements. What were some of the big ones that took place this year? And are you seeing a big uptake of them?
Yeah, I mean, in our top 5 yesterday, AFX and AIDE.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But a lot of the data services I'm anticipating today are going to start getting usage. Like we have a ransomware resilience lab.
Nice.
And we just announced the free trial for 6 months. So, the way you can use Lab on Demand is get a feel for the product, understand how it works, and then sign up for the free trial and put it in your own environment. It's
nice.
That easy.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to highlight before we get out of here and move on to the next guest?
I think the big thing for me is just if you don't see something in the catalog, talk to your sales team, and there may be something we can offer.
Nice.
We take feedback both here at Hands-On Labs when you finish a lab, but also through Lab on Demand. There's ways to submit feedback and surveys, and we love to hear it. New requests, ideas for labs, or what went or didn't go right in the lab itself.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for dropping by. I appreciate it. For everybody that has not tried a lab yet, please go try the labs. They are amazing. Whether you're a partner, whether you're a customer, go try, or an employee, go try them out. If you're a new SE needing to come up to speed really quickly, it's one of the best ways to do it. I can vouch for that. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next year at Insight, or maybe even sooner in the lab.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
All right. Well, guys, there we go. Hands-on labs for you. As far as if you're here at the show and you have had the opportunity, be sure to go over to the Hands-On Labs, try out one of them yourself. As Brian was just saying, you can jump into any of the new announcements yesterday, whether it's AFX, whether it is to do with NetApp Console and some of the ransomware resiliency announcements or other data services that we announced. Make sure you head over there. If you're not here at the show, you can absolutely go today to labondemand.netapp.com, try those out yourself, and tell us what you think. Let us know what you do. Costs you nothing, and you can take it all through the paces. All right, our next guest is hailing from Cisco. I want to introduce Mr. Chris O'Brien. Chris, how you doing?
Good to meet you.
Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So give us an introduction of yourself. What is? I know you work in the compute division over there. So give us a little bit of an idea of what you're doing over in Cisco Compute.
Well, I'll explain the Grays first. So
they're coming.
There you go. So 25 years at Cisco. Nice. Always focused on solutions, and I think I've been about the last 13 years in the compute business unit. But I started working with NetApp back in 2009, 2010. I actually wrote
about that UCS time frame, if I'm remembering.
That's exactly. Yeah, I made the switch to x86. But then I started supporting the FlexPod program. Wrote the first CVD, and now I manage the team, the engineering side of the house. So
is it safe to say we have you to thank for FlexPod?
Never thank me for that. No, I have FlexPod to thank for my kids through college. No,
that's FlexPod's been one of the most successful things I think NetApp has ever done. So we're proud of it.
Actually, the secret of it all is it's actually a great collaboration.
Yeah.
So both the companies just really work well together, and it's at every single level. I mean, on my side, it's engineering, so I partner closely with the FlexPod engineering team. On your side of the house, PMs, it's a group effort. But I think the proof is in the pudding. Because if you look at what we've done since 2010 to today, we've actually taken our customers, safely with minimized risk through a journey of, different application requirements, use cases, all on this common infrastructure that they're obviously comfortable with. They know it very well, and they can just operate it seamlessly. And it's just been a great, run, and a good, just a good marriage of technologies. So
It's so awesome because that was I joined NetApp in early 2011. So I was just making that transition from coming out of the private sector, out of the customer world into NetApp.
Okay.
And I missed the opportunity to own a FlexPod. But we had, at the time, Cisco switches, NetApp storage, and we had different manufacturer servers, but we were looking at UCS because that had just come out. Little did I know we basically had a FlexPod. We just didn't have, so we were looking at things like the CVDs that were starting to come out in 2010, and I was going down the list and going, that kind of looks like what I've got right now, that's not much different.
Yeah.
So there was this whole movement of like, do I build my own FlexPod, quote unquote, or do we buy one? I think the experience that people have gotten from FlexPod is that all-in-one, roll it off the truck, plug it in, network it up, and start getting work.
I was actually going to say the best compliment we ever get is, I forget I'm working on a FlexPod, which means there's no problems.
Yeah.
Like, you always know what the problem is. You can always point your finger at it, right?
Yeah.
So as long as they're not pointing at FlexPod, they're thinking about, what do I do next? What's the next use case? And I think the beauty of the program too is that when you look at like NetApp and Cisco, we're each bringing different perspectives, but the best in class that we can bring to the table. And you kind of marry these things together, and that just really is a 1 + 1 = 11 kind of story for our customers. And just being able to, all these different use cases, allow our customers to envision their business and the outcome they're trying to achieve on a platform that can flex to what they need. Yeah. So
you get to skip the step of the hard labor of IT. You get to kind of skip that step of having to do all of the racking and stacking and the cable management and all of those things, because it's done for you by the partners or by whoever you're sourcing it from. You get to go straight to workloads. You get to go straight to provisioning at that point.
Yeah, and the other thing around FlexPod is not only just the evolution of the infrastructure and the applications, is it was actually born from the concept of security and secure multi-tenancy. Well, I mean, security is always important. It's more important now than ever with AI. I said AI. We're 2 minutes. So but the secure multi-tenancy concept, which we grew together as a team. It's just a great marriage, of technologies, and I don't see an end to it, honestly.
No. I mean, the marriage of UCS with what we were doing with SMT inside of ONTAP, really just peanut butter and jelly together, and being able to do things like service profiles and what we did with SVMs later on down the road.
Well, it's funny because I think I started out with 7 mode, and then we moved into cluster mode, and we had SVM. And that SVM concept was just all right.
Tie one of those to a service profile, and you got off to the races.
Great story. Yeah.
What's the latest with Cisco Compute? I know we had the Washington announced last year. I believe it was at Cisco Live, so it's been around for a little over a year now. What's the latest with Cisco Compute these days? What's the biggest thing that people should be paying attention to?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously from a core infrastructure perspective, we keep up with AMD and Intel and the processor evolution. So we're on, MA platforms today. So the latest and greatest x86, certainly available in both, rack or blade form factors.
Yeah.
And the beauty of UCS is a system, meaning that you're managing the fabric and the compute at once, and it's all managed under our cloud service, which is Intersight. So no matter what form factor you need, you're managing it the same way. Can be completely API driven.
Yeah.
So for us, we're allowing our customers to operate the way they want to. So if you want to automate it or not manually, you can do it. So that's basic compute. But the real focus is AI. To be clear, we rolled out a number of dense GPU platforms over the past couple of months. So we're certainly part of the AI ecosystem that we're bringing forward, and we're working with NetApp. I mean, actually with FlexPod, I think it was back in 2018, we rolled out our first FlexPod AI solution, and that was based on our V100 GPU system.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah, so that was
2017, 2018, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 2018. All right, getting old. So anyway, but the point is AI is a use case. FlexPod's been there already. We're pushing it forward. I mean, the announcements that you've had, around the disaggregated systems themselves. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm sure that have been happening behind the scenes between our two companies that are going to make that be a continued wonderful marriage.
That's the suspense moment. We're building this. Yeah.
I can't wait to see some of the CVDs that are going to come out of it.
Yeah, we're really
things
excited.
like that. I'm never going to ask you to pick between your children, but blade or chassis? Or sorry, chassis or rack mount?
Intersight.
Intersight.
That's the right answer.
It is. It really is. Because they're effectively the same componentry on the internals, right?
Well, if you think about it too, you have ONTAP.
Yeah.
So you have this universal platform that you can run any size infrastructure. We have the same concept, and that's obviously the beauty of FlexPod, because you can flex at every single layer, and obviously support whatever fabric you need. If it's spine leaf architecture or an ACI-based architecture, and NetApp and Cisco have developed all those solutions.
Yeah, and they all work really well all together. That's one of the things, especially.
We try to avoid bugs.
I mean, you start throwing the Thousand Eyes product in there as well. I mean, Intersight has really matured into something that is really. I've watched it over the last couple of years at Cisco Live, just seeing it come to life.
Very stable platform.
Yeah, it's gorgeous to look at. I love some of the work that we've done with Harvest for monitoring FlexPods, being able to see all of the different components, and just for the observability of it.
When you're thinking about observability for us, we made a little investment a few years ago. It was called Splunk.
Yeah.
And
it's the middle one.
Just a little investment. But the beauty, actually, what we're trying to do, and what you'll see over the course, I mean, just to give you a preview, is we're bringing Splunk Observability Cloud to FlexPod, meaning defining dashboards. And obviously NetApp has integrations to Splunk, and obviously we do. So we could start coming up with a very contained, uniform approach to observability for the FlexPod solution. Yeah.
Nice. Well, anything else that, has Cisco made any announcements this week that we need to be aware of as part of Insight, or anything that's...
Well, we're part of the disaggregated system. Our switching is part of that cluster.
9332s, if I remember right?
I believe that's correct. I'm not in the next, I'm not in the networking. I play one on TV, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, that was
a big... at Cisco, everybody's in networking, right?
Well, that's true. That's true. But we also have some of our, our platforms in our booth, so you can come over and see some of those new dense GPU systems, and yeah, it's
nice.
Exciting times in compute at Cisco.
Well, I really appreciate your time today, Chris. This has been awesome. Thank you for stopping by. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we get out of here?
Buy FlexPod.
Buy FlexPod.
We'll go with that. All right, thank you,
sir. I really appreciate it. Yep. There we go. All right, guys, I really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much to Chris O'Brien from Cisco for stopping by, talking to us about FlexPod. Lots of other things that we could get into. Be sure to check out Thousand Eyes. They are doing some really cool stuff with that Splunk acquisition they made, that little one last year. So be sure to pay attention to what's going on there. And now we're going to have new NVDs, CVDs potentially coming through with AFX. So look forward to those coming out sometime in the near future. The next thing we need to talk about is getting into some cloudy things, some management things. You heard some announcements happen this week, specifically yesterday around NetApp Console, the artist formerly known as Blue XP, if you will. Some of these things are coming together in a new platform. Some of the announcements we made today, if you were watching the kickoff show around ransomware resilience, you'll be able to do a free trial with that. We encourage everybody to go sign up with that. So I decided we would bring in one of the people that directly involved with that. He's one of the directors over there for NetApp Console, and is Mr. Sijde Johnson. Thank you for joining me, Sijde.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Break this down for me, Eli 5, if you will. Why the name change? Sort of again, it feels like we just did that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Was there a particular targeted reason to do that, just so that the audience understands why we're going with NetApp Console? And then sort of tie it all together for me, bring it home as far as bringing all of we talked to Glenn Sizemore yesterday around the backup as a service solution. Yeah. We've heard from Gagan and Jenni on the keynote stage about the ransomware resilience stuff. Bring this home for me, like what is NetApp Console and what are each of these services and how do they all work together?
Yeah, NetApp Console, first of all, is our single management interface. And when we were looking at this launch and this release that we put together, it's a huge release. This is so much more than just a new name and rebrand. We've really made enhancements to simplicity in terms of using the product. We've extended the reach in terms of the integrations, the breadth of the portfolio that we support. We've made security enhancements. We just made it a lot easier to get this thing up and running. So when we looked at all of that put together, along with some feedback that we heard from our customers around the name, we realized we had something new here. So it made a lot of sense to look at a new name that made a little bit more sense for what customers were interacting with, how they were using the product, and what we were really looking at launching. But so much more than that. This has been a really fun project for me to work on.
Well, if you go back to look at just the name NetApp Console, NetApp sort of has a history of using descriptive names.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun of naming things at NetApp. So Console, I think, is great. But I love the collation of sort of giving us that, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Single pane of glass? Oh, it hurts. Sorry. It gives us that element in a browser. Blue XP kind of got us there. The Cloud Manager we had before that kind of got us there, but it just never really drove it home. The things that I've seen of Console so far are really getting us there. We're getting to that place where people can they can tie their on-prem systems to their cloud accounts, regardless of what cloud provider they're using, and really just it becomes a game of just moving your data around, protecting your data, protecting against ransomware, all of that stuff. when you mentioned the security enhancements, I really want to dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
What were some of those security enhancements that people can look forward to?
A few. So we made some basic security enhancements to the infrastructure, but there's some other capabilities that we make it a lot easier for customers to get into a more secure spot. So native multi-factor authentication, we heard that loud and clear.
Ooh.
You could do that before with a federated configuration,
Yeah.
but now you can do it natively right out of the box. Super easy to do.
So is that just traditional like authenticator app, two-factor authentication, or are we getting into the situations where we've got, you know, the captain's missile key thing that we've got in ONTAP, where you've got the two multi-admin verification?
Multi-admin verification is coming. We don't have that in this release, but we've
Okay.
got the two other enhancements. So multi-factor authentication, which really helps tighten things up a lot. And honestly, being a security nerd, like if you do nothing and you add MFA, you're gonna have better outcomes.
Yes, absolutely.
So we really went down that path. We did improve the identity federation, so customers can get up and running with a federated identity provider a lot faster, a lot easier.
Are there particular ones that are supported over others, or?
All the major ones.
Okay.
So yeah, any of our enterprise customers will have easy identity federation.
Gotcha.
Getting that up and going.
Is it just SAML at the end of the day, the integration?
It's
so if
amongst
we're looking
other
at things like Okta or Intra ID and all of those are pretty well supported?
They're all supported.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Yeah, so that gets a lot better. Let's see, on the security side, we have also launched in a few weeks, we'll have a new read-only mode. So our customers came back to us, and this also has to do with reducing insider risk and a few other areas in terms of preventing misconfiguration errors. But our customers came back and were like, hey, a lot of times I just need to look at the console, see what's going on, figure out what's happening. I don't want to run the risk of mistyping something and taking my environment down.
So sort of that CIO at a glance dashboard view of everything?
Yeah, but it's actually the whole mode. So anytime you're in there, you'll see it's in read-only mode, and it'll prevent you from making misconfiguration errors.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
I remember as a customer, that was one of the best things I ever did, was create that sort of internal-only web page that my director or my CIO at any time could go and look at, see what tickets were severe, Sev 1 type stuff.
Yeah.
Where were we at on capacity for storage?
Yeah.
How many VMs were running? All of that kind of, when you create that, so to have that sort of out of the box.
Yeah.
Like don't sleep on that, guys. That's a huge deal to have right out of the box.
I love this feature. That was a really fun one to build. We also have new secure service accounts with bring your own key. And there's a whole litany of other kind of minor ones that are part of the release as well. But those are the big ones.
So besides security, where do we go as far as, I know there was some things around the ransomware resiliency.
Yeah.
How did we end up implementing that? And how is it different from like how ARP runs on Box with ONTAP?
Yeah, so ransomware resilience, and again, that's a whole topic in and of itself. But what we've done is we've worked with all the data services teams, including especially ransomware resilience, to have that native experience as part of console. So it's easy, you see it right in the dashboard, you see the status of your environment, you see what needs to be protected, and now with the easy trial, you can get that thing up and running in no time. So it's really improved that end-to-end experience.
How is that working across various platforms that people might be using, whether it's, how does it communicate directly with ARP on ONTAP for on-prem?
It does.
How is it working with the various cloud providers and our solutions there?
Yeah, anywhere we've got ARP enabled, we can start helping customers with that ransomware.
Okay, so it is ARP driven?
Yeah.
Okay, within ONTAP, gotcha. So regardless if it's running in Google, Azure, or FSX, in our ONTAP, basically offloaded, if not offloaded, that's the wrong word, our 1P storage services, I should say.
Yeah.
Native cloud native services. We can monitor that with console for ransomware attacks the same way with ARP.
It bubbles right up there into the console.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Still shows up all in the same dashboard.
Yeah.
All the same logs.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love the idea that we're taking what was born on Box and making it available to ONTAP everywhere.
Yeah.
I love that as just a mantra in general. ONTAP everywhere. What else besides resilience and security are we looking at? There's probably some workflow stuff in here too, right?
Simplicity.
Simplicity.
So we heard loud and clear from our customers. It was really hard to get up and running. There's a lot of issues deploying. We used to call it the connector. It's now the agent. And we made it a lot easier for customers to get up and running with that. We've got a new OVA virtual appliance to deploy it. But we've also shrunk the footprint of what that looks like for firewalls, made it easier for customers to get up and running that way as well.
So. Are you still doing, for on-prem, are you still running a container, or is it all the OVA? I know there was a problem before where you had an option of doing a container that you could run.
You can still do that.
Be that proxy. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a series of containers, but the virtual appliance just makes it a lot easier, bundles all of that up, makes it very fast to get up and running.
Is there an option for people, is that OVA VMware only, or is that for any other sort of virtualization solution?
Today, but we'll add more.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we've covered security, we've covered ransomware, covered simplicity. What else you got for NetApp console?
You know, I think the other thing I want to share is kind of our future for NetApp console.
I love that, yeah.
Because this is an area that we're really, really excited about. What we've heard loud and clear is focus on simplicity, but also start to really evolve our fleet management story. And, you know, you kind of mentioned it earlier, you know, we talk about single pane of glass, but really it's a consolidation of all of those management tools into a single place, make it easier for customers to get going. But from that fleet management side, we're also, this week we've launched Harvest as a part of the NetApp console ecosystem of capabilities for observability. And we've launched the Harvest MCP that allows customers to start to create their own agentic flows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very cool.
This is the first I'm hearing about this. Okay.
I'm excited about it.
I'll have to go hit up Grindstaff and see what that's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is available today. You can get going with that. But what I'll be demoing tomorrow in one of my sessions is kind of an end-to-end fleet management view, which allows you to provision across your fleet using an agentic flow, and then get going, kind of an end-to-end experience for, you know, understanding your fleet, provisioning on that fleet, doing monitoring, alerting on that, and then really having that entire end-to-end flow with an agentic process.
That's amazing. I
Super
literally
excited.
wrote myself a note to go talk about it. CJ, thank you so much for stopping by,
My
man. This
pleasure.
has been awesome. Listen, I'm going to pre-invite you to a full episode. Bring some of the members of the team if you want to. We can do a full 1 hour sort of overall presentation of NetApp console. I know it's new today, guys. It's new for everybody. It was just announced yesterday. We got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to console, but
Would love to. My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thank you
Thanks
so much, CJ.
All right, have a good day.
Take care. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. All right, so just to recap really quickly. We have gone over Lab on Demand. We've gone over all of our stuff that we have going on with the hands-on labs here. That is a great precursor for certifications. You can get into some of your certifications here as well. If you come to Insight, you can get free certifications while you're here. Right? You don't get charged for the exam. So make sure that when you're thinking about and measuring whether or not you're going to come for Insight each year, keep that in mind. Make sure that you're factoring in that into your cost of your overall stay. Also, we had Chris O'Brien come over from Cisco. I have so much more that I would love to just rap about with Chris. This is just the history of FlexPod that's kind of in his brain and in my brain too, frankly. Some of that stuff that we started out building, some of that stuff that we started out using has evolved so much in the last 15 years. But it's still one of the biggest selling, biggest supported pieces of product that we have from a converged infrastructure standpoint to be able to put all of that stuff together. And then we talked to CJ. Now we've got NetApp console that's going to connect everything on-prem and cloudy into one centralized hybrid cloud console to protect all of your data, to back it all up, to provide a ransomware resilience against any sort of intrusion or things like that. All kinds of good stuff. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit because I want to bring on my next guest because now we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun because he's been on here multiple times before. You guys know him. You've probably seen his videos on our YouTube channel, especially the most recent ones covering the ONTAP tools for VMware, the OTV. Yeah, you know me. It's Chance Bingen. Chance, welcome back to the show, man.
Sir, always great to be here.
I appreciate you being here. Let's talk about virtualization. We've talked about it a lot over the last few years, but now it's more important than ever. We've come from VMware Explorer a little over a month ago. Yep. We've gotten some of the new announcements around VCF 9. I know one of your primary focus areas is VMware specifically, but you do dabble. You dabble elsewhere.
I do a little this and that.
a little swerving. The idea behind what VCF 9 promises to be, I will admit, is exciting. I think some of the things that they're bringing to the table around Private AI Foundation, some of the stuff that they're sort of retooling their Kubernetes efforts around to facilitate some of that Private AI Foundation, I get really excited about that. And when I see things like AFX, I start to get even more excited because that then becomes the floor. As Keith Asen said yesterday, you're swapping out the foundation of the house without having to tear the house down. That starts getting really excited when you talk about virtualization. So talk to me about where you're at with VMware, where you're at with virtualization. We can go into some of the alternatives and stuff in a few minutes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you and I have been doing the virtualization thing for a very long time now. And I'd say the virtualization market right now has been really reinvigorated and more dynamic than it's been in a really long time. So it's a really exciting time to be in this space. I agree. The things that VMware is doing with, for example, VKS, we're doing some stuff with Trident and VKS now. So we're going to be seeing some really exciting things coming out of that. The stuff they're doing with VCF and delivering a full private cloud so that you can truly have that cloud-like experience on-prem in a very relatively easy to deploy solution now with the new VCF installer. Just makes it so easy to stand up VCF environments.
Yeah. And how has that, so that's evolved in a way over the last, because it wasn't like that. Is this all new stuff from VCF 9 that people need to be paying attention to?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of stuff has changed. What you knew about VCF in 5.2, 5.2.1, when we first started supporting external storage for, well, primary or principal storage, from 5.2.1 to 9.0 is a very different game. It's evolved quite a lot. The old software-defined data center manager, SDDC manager, is sort of, it's going away, being replaced by the fleet management capabilities of VCF automation and operation, and it's really leveling up the stack to provide, that full holistic solution. VCF installer has replaced Cloud Builder for the most part, so Cloud Builder's kind of gone, and it's just, man, it's so much easier to use.
What do you say to customers that sort of push back on it, or they're still in that kind of fight or flight mode when it comes to some of the licensing changes that have been made? They're sort of still kind of reactive about, oh my God, we didn't see this coming. This sort of caught us off guard. Is there a reassurance you give them about staying with VMware that might be a good solution for them, or there's ways that we can help them maybe tamp that down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it runs the gamut. It depends on the customer and their particular use case. I mean, if they're building a private cloud, then VCF remains really the premier solution for them. But there's a lot of options out there. We're doing a lot of stuff with evolving the Cinder driver in OpenStack.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of stuff with some other cloud vendors that you'll hear more about later on this year, as well as you saw in the keynote, the things we're doing with Red Hat now are really incredible.
Yeah. OpenShift is definitely making a play. I think I talked with Jason Benedicic about it yesterday. We're seeing there's several things at play. There's the more traditional virtualization move that's happening. There's this containerizing of virtual machines as a way to facilitate refactoring long term that's kind of happening. I lump OpenShift kind of into that lane of the highway. But then there's some other alternatives. There's some new ones that are kind of making a resurgence. We've heard the name Proxmox, mostly around home labs for the last 20 years. People don't know that they've been around since 2005.
Yeah, they've been around a minute.
So they just announced the beta of their data center manager, and I'm very anxious to see what level of extensibility that we're going to be able to tie in potentially with some of the things in Proxmox. What's your take on Proxmox and the state of things with that?
They're evolving very quickly. I think they were one of the early favorites in terms of when the market really became heated up again. A lot of people were looking at them as being, hey, this might actually be an option for me.
Yeah.
Because they do a lot of stuff really well. It's really slick, really well put together. And if you Google NetApp and Proxmox, people have been playing with it for a long time.
Yeah.
But they're looking very much more seriously at it now for primary data center workloads.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I want to call out and make sure that everybody at home knows, like, it is on the IMT. We have qualified it for all protocols. So across the board, iSCSI, NVMe over TCP, Fiber Channel, NFS, it's qualified and it's on the IMT, guys. So Proxmox is an option for you if you want to look into that. Yes, it still heavily relies on Ceph, and that cannot be questionable in enterprise situation.
Yep.
Just know that those things are out there, but know that you can also connect it to your NetApp storage. And it's a free open source alternative.
Yeah.
And they offer support. Listen, I'm not here trying to sell Proxmox, because I also love XCP, the new latest Zen community project that's out there. Absolutely. I think there are open source alternatives there were a lot of people that depended on OpenStack 10, 12 years ago. And we have maintained that Cinder driver for this long, and it's still getting updates to this day. So if you want to look at free open source alternatives, OpenStack's there, Proxmox is there, XCP is there, and we've got compatibility with all of them.
Absolutely. And I'll hammer on one thing that they mentioned in the keynote just a little while ago as well, was our rich partner ecosystem.
Yes.
And when you go and you look out in the open source community, now that Proxmox has really opened up that plugin framework that you can take advantage of, there are NetApp partners out there that are writing Proxmox plugins right now. that you can go and deploy and take advantage of. So it's, like I said, it's an exciting time to be in this space.
I want to make sure that people understand one thing, though, that's very important, is that in no way are we, I don't want to say the word abandon, we're not abandoning VMware. What I'm saying is that we can make your VMware footprint more just efficient. We can help you with efficient clones, we can help you with deduplication, we can help you provide more performance to each VM so that you don't need as many VMs. Or we give you the compatibility to go across multiple hypervisors so that maybe some of those tier 2, tier 3, less essential virtual machines maybe could run on a Proxmox or an XCP or an OpenStack, saving you valuable money in that Broadcom contract that you got quoted for VCF 9.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it. When we talk to customers, it's all about optimization, being more efficient, fully utilizing what you have invested in, and then, like you said, being first party in all 3 hyperscalers for storage integrated with VMware in the cloud. I met with a customer yesterday who is in some of the VMware cloud offerings, and they're doing some great things there. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of which, the one name I haven't really thrown out there yet is Hyper-V. But, I mean, Hyper-V for a long time was sort of, VMware won that war. For a long time throughout the 2010s, VMware was the king. And, we didn't see a lot of updates, if any, to Hyper-V for quite some time. Windows Server 2025 came out swinging with a big batch of updates to Hyper-V.
Yeah.
Where do you put Hyper-V in this conversation? Is it back? Is it newer, better than ever sort of situation?
I'd say both. I think definitely it's back. It's better than ever. They're doing a lot of stuff. We're working with them on a lot of really interesting things. So be sure and go to Ignite this year of the opportunity to do that. So you might see some interesting NetApp stuff there. What they're doing with Windows 2025, really reinvigorating virtualization in the Windows space. Hyper-V is a natural fit for so many customers because advantageous licensing, you already have the license, probably 99% of 99.999, like 6 nines of customers, right, already have the licensing for it, and the skill set is there. And that's one of the biggest challenges when customers look at, do I need to diversify my virtualization portfolio? And if I do I have the skill set to do that? Do I need to hire more people or retrain my people? Most of the time, Hyper-V is the easy button if you need to stand up a new environment and you want to diversify your environment, or take advantage of the NetApp Shift toolkit and be flexible with your environment.
So you've read my mind. So I was going to go 2 places. Before we get into Shift, I absolutely want to talk about that because I've just been told we've got a little bit of extra time. So we can go into some of these extra things. I want to talk about OTV. For those of you that have been around for ages and know NetApp, it used to be called VSC. Back in my days, it was called the VSC. Now it's called ONTAP Tools for VMware. What is, for those that have never run NetApp and that have never, break it down for me, what is OTV? What is ONTAP Tools for VMware?
So ONTAP Tools for VMware, it's an appliance you can deploy in your environment, and it allows you to manage storage intuitively through the vCenter interface. So it's sort of a vCenter plugin in a sense, but it does so much more. It offers a REST API service. So anything it can do, it can automate. It makes it so easy to manage storage within vCenter. The user experience is intuitive. And most importantly, it eliminates human error and deploys storage in a best practice way and allows you to manage the full life cycle of that storage throughout the entirety of its existence.
So it does that by, normally when you would go to create a new volume or a data store in VMware, you'd have to go to your storage, create the volume, create the mount point, but then you'd have to take that and copy and paste it over, run through the VMware native wizard to do all of that, and then maybe it mounts right. This way, we give you a right-click context menu. You can mount it to all of your hosts at the exact same time. A next finish wizard. What do you want to name it and how big do you want it to be? And you're done. And that creates all your volumes for it. But to your point, it does so much more than that.
Yeah.
We're examining the hosts, your ESX hosts, to be able to set best practice settings. What are some of those settings that it'll dial in for us?
Yeah, so it's going to look really deep down at some of the things that we've determined in partnership with VMware are really the best practice settings to ensure a reliable and dependable and consistent experience. Timeout settings, NFS queue depth. I mean, the list goes on and on for the settings that we can tune there. It also, among other things, it integrates NetApp SnapMirror with VMware Live Site Recovery, so you can take advantage of array-based replication. Nowadays, it also integrates with SnapMirror ActiveSync, so that you can, it's literally a one-click wizard. You launch the wizard, and you can next, and all of a sudden you've got a VMware Stretch Storage Cluster, vSphere Metro Storage Cluster solution. It really is the easiest way to deploy storage.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that we've gotten it to be that simple for some of the most complex configurations out there.
Absolutely.
It's when you're talking about Metro Cluster, SnapMirror ActiveSync, Stretch vSphere clustering, those are some of the more complex configurations. And I can do this in a right mouse menu at this point?
Absolutely. You can right click on the cluster, select the Protect Host Cluster option, and then next, finish for the most part. You can get, change some names, tell it which hosts are closest to which controllers, stuff like that. But I mean, most people will just go right through it.
I want to go back to being an admin now. I want to get to experience this firsthand, because I didn't get to do this cool stuff. It must be so much fun to be an admin right now.
Going back to the Cloud Foundation and delivering that cloud-like experience, all of that requires rich automation. And with VCF automation, be able to integrate with pretty much any automation platform out there, whether it's Ansible, almost anything, right, is supported through VCF automation. And that allows you to then expand into everything NetApp makes is designed to be automated and deliver cloud-like services, right, through REST APIs, whether it's ONTAP or ONTAP tools for VMware, SnapCenter plugin for VMware, the NetApp console services can all be automated. And so what that allows you to do is build very easy to use workflows that can be triggered through VCF automation. And to give you an example, I like to say that ONTAP Tools automates the automation, right? Or accelerates your journey to automation. You mentioned all those steps it can do, like creating a volume, creating a LUN, creating an iGroup, managing your iSCSI initiators or NVMe TCP initiator session logins, instantiating controllers, all that kind of stuff. You can send one API call and it'll do all that for you. So you don't have to write, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many API calls that would normally take. You don't have to do that. You send one to ONTAP Tools and it's like, I got it. I'm going to take care of that for you. So for people that are just starting out on their journey to automation, it really does help make things easier.
Well, you said something in there that I really want to home in on, NVMe over TCP. I think we've really seen the rise of NVMe over TCP over the last couple of years, especially as it's been adopted more and more by the cloud providers. So we fully support that. vSphere fully supports that, or VMware fully supports that. But I've heard you describe the process before. I know what it takes to set up an NVMe namespace on a storage system. You've described to me before that the right-click context menu inside of vSphere with OTV can handle all of those steps for me as long as it has the controller inventoried within OTV. Walk me through that process and how we got to something being so simple that is so complex.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes back. So ONTAP Tools, believe it or not, has a rich history going back 17 years, right? 18 years maybe now? So originally developed by some very enterprising PS engineers who wanted to have a better way of managing storage within VMware environments. Back then it was just ESX.
Hat tip to Matt Robinson out there if you happen to be watching.
Absolutely. And so it's continued to evolve. So the current generation ONTAP Tools 10 was a complete rewrite from the ground up. So it's now a cloud native application that runs within the appliance, right? So it's a containerized microservice architecture, and you can even deploy a high availability cluster of ONTAP Tools appliances now to deliver those consistent services and isolate fault domains and things like that.
Do you suggest that as a best practice for people for production environments to run that high availability setup?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the requirements of the environment. Generally speaking, I would say yes, especially if you're doing a vSphere Metro storage cluster, where maybe you want to have, one ONTAP Tools node in one site, one ONTAP Tools node in another site, and maybe two in another. However it works out. That way, if you do suffer a full site outage, right, The Metro storage cluster will just encounter an HA event. It'll reboot all your VMs on the other data center. Your storage, just continues running as if nothing ever happened, and then ONTAP Tools continues functioning as well.
Is it a SnapMirror relationship under the covers there, kind of like what SRM used to be in a way?
Yeah, so it's based on SnapMirror technology, but it's constantly synchronously replicated bidirectionally. So you're able to fully leverage all the resources of both data centers. So if you compare it to like Metro cluster, ONTAP Metro cluster, for example, that's sort of an active standby configuration.
Right.
Whereas with SnapMirror ActiveSync, it's active all the time, symmetric. So you can vMotion VMs from one site to the other, and the I/O will flow with the VM over to the other site non-disruptively. Nobody ever knows anything happened.
Wow. My imagination's going crazy with the kind of configurations you could come up with something like that, because in the end of the day, it's almost like it's part of the same cluster.
Yeah,
it's not even a stretched cluster, really, especially if you've got the bandwidth between all of the systems there. So are you having physical systems on both sides of that equation? So I guess you're having your own stack of hosts and storage systems on there, but there's just a live connection between the two of them using ActiveSync.
Yes.
So you could vMotion your live vMotion.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm telling you guys, I want to go back into the private sector. I want to go be an admin again for a year and be able to play with all these cool new toys. My home lab can't support this kind of stuff, but there's so many cool things that have come out since I've come out of it. There was one more piece that I was trying to think of with regard. You mentioned it, SnapCenter's plugin ability to back it up. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of Artie or anybody to be on the show today to talk about SnapCenter, but let's talk about SnapCenter for vSphere, because I want to make sure that people know that yes, we used to have it built into VSC, but we do have the vSphere plugin for SnapCenter now that is still available to all NetApp customers to back up their vSphere environments using a lot of the same methodologies we used to. So walk me through how we've evolved that SnapCenter product.
I think, we talk a lot about giving the customer the choice to use, we were talking about hypervisors earlier, right? So you've got choice and flexibility. With SnapCenter, we give you the option to take advantage of NetApp Snapshot and SnapMirror technology and expose that directly to the vCenter administrator, so they don't have to worry about VM snapshots and snapshot delta files and consolidation and all that kind of stuff, but they still have the ability to leverage snapshot technology directly on the array. That also is all exposed via REST API, so if you want to build backup as a service, you can do that, right? But we also give you the choice to do it as a service through the NetApp console now. So through NetApp console, you can kind of onboard your vCenter and back up and manage directly through a single pane of glass for all your backups, all your NetApp native backup stuff.
So you've got the backups there, but then you've also got what Glenn is working on with the kind of the disaster recovery side of it, much more like SRM as a service, if you will. All tied into your NetApp console environment that does take some of the things like SnapMirror ActiveSync or SnapMirror into account to be able to move that stuff around and manage it for you. We were just talking to CJ about the console prior to you joining us. So I'm so excited to see how people take advantage of console, how people jump in and take advantage of OTV and some of these other situations. Anything that we haven't discussed as far as virtualization goes? I feel like we've covered the gamut. We even talked about Hyper-V. I'm actually going to be playing with Hyper-V and OpenShift this fall, and I'm really looking forward to putting them through the paces. Anything virtualization related that you can think of that we haven't really talked about?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot of different hypervisors. We still are seeing most of our customers are running VMware as they always have. I think that's continued to be the case. VCF 9, tremendous improvement and paradigm shift from legacy VCF versions.
Yeah.
We're continuing to innovate the storage stack within VMware. You probably saw they announced some new NFS capabilities and other capabilities with VCF 9 when it came out. We helped with that. We partnered with them on things like encrypted NFS now, right, for secure environments. That's now an option, which it wasn't before. And that came through some of we're very heavy in the US public sector, for example, and they have specific requirements in high security locations, such as encryption in flight. So we worked with them to kind of deliver that. And you're going to see a lot more stuff as well coming in the near future.
Outstanding. I thought of one that we didn't talk about. EVS.
EVS, yeah.
Elastic VMware Service, the newest service in AWS for Elastic VMware. sort of thing. So if you have an expanding virtualization environment that you really want to support, you can now do that in AWS with their new Elastic VMware service.
Yeah,
and it's sort of a spiritual successor to VMC. It's just a more agile version of what VMC used to be. There are still some VMC customers out there using our stuff, but they're becoming fewer and far between. If you're still interested in running VMware in AWS, definitely go look into EVS, or Elastic VMware Service.
And of course, data stores on FSX for NetApp.
And the best storage to put EVS on? FSX for NetApp ONTAP.
And you can save a tremendous amount on your Amazon bill by doing that.
Yeah. Well, the next guy coming up is not going to like me saying that, but we'll see. Thank you very much, Chance.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure.
Have a good one. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. Well, that was Chance Bingen. He's going to talk. He was there to talk to us a lot. There's so much to cover with virtualization. Chance and I absolutely need to spend more time hanging out together. The virtualization landscape has just exploded over the last 2 to 3 years, and we've got changes with Broadcom, changes with the cloud providers, growth in the cloud providers, and we were joking about AWS there for just a second ago, but I figured we had to just rib the next guy that was coming up because he and I go back a little bit, Mr. Andrew Chen.
Yeah, Nick, great
Andrew,
to be here.
Good to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Good to have you here. I was going to try and surprise you with Prashant. I thought there was going to be this reunion moment, but then Prashant had a hard thing. He couldn't make it as of this morning. So
he's here in spirit.
He's here in spirit for sure. So I want to have some fun with you, if you don't mind. Take me back to 2017.
Yeah.
Take me back to the beginning of Azure NetApp Files.
Yeah.
From the Microsoft perspective, I think we know plenty on our side about how it came to be.
Yeah.
And that it's, okay, cool, we're putting 6 nodes things in Azure data centers, but what was the driver for this from the Microsoft side, if you can share that kind of story with me?
Yeah, absolutely. So, going way back, Microsoft and NetApp have a very long history,
of course.
Going back I think it's decades. And so we were already in partnership, working on things also like CVO, or what at the time was NPS. But I think from the Microsoft side, we saw the types of problems that ONTAP was able to solve, both data and storage problems, solving for its customers. And there was really nothing like that in the public cloud at the time. And so we had this shared vision to bring that capability to Azure, but not just sort of as a bolt-on or something, like to do something truly unique, a very well integrated, full fidelity cloud native experience. And I think there's a lot of shared DNA cultural values between the two companies, particularly at the time. It was enterprise, understanding the importance of servicing enterprise customers, mission critical workloads, sort of those top tier demanding environments. A belief in hybrid and really serving the customers, right? So it was just a very natural fit in wanting to bring that power and deliver it to our customers in Azure.
Yeah, you mentioned we've been partners for many decades at this point, and even me as a customer, I would run Exchange, Snap Manager for Exchange on my NetApp storage in the late 2000s. So there's a lot of moving parts that are both NetApp and Microsoft.
Yes.
Some of the iSCSI initiator stuff that we did in the early days with the tier 1 applications. SQL, Dynamics, Exchange, all of that stuff. So when we get to this point where, okay, at the time I think we had CVS and I think we maybe had it over in one of the other cloud providers. What was the motivation for you to not to do that physically? Is there a particular reason you wanted to do that with actual physical systems versus just trying to kind of co-locate it or co-host it like we were doing with other places? I love the just oomph of you guys nope, we're going to put them right in our data centers, and they're going to get wired right into the fabric interconnects. And that's the only way we're going to do it. YOLO. And I so respect you guys doing that.
Yeah, no, boy, that's such a great question. It was really because we wanted to bring the full fidelity experience, right, without compromises, particularly in performance, right? Like now, because ANF was the idea of being able to do sub-millisecond latency on storage in cloud with high availability. That wasn't as much a thing. The cloud pattern was very different at the time. And so we did not want to have to make those compromises. It involved a lot of hard work and deep joint partnership along the way. So bringing the systems into the data center, and we've talked about it over the years, there was a lot of unique and new at the time engineering that was done to inject, as we call it, the data from ONTAP into the virtual network for Azure, and that included a whole bunch of things we can get into the weeds around mapping IP spaces,
delegating
into
the
VNets,
VNets.
exactly,
Yep.
And then also doing it so that there was no limit to throughput and performance, right? Because we could have used some of the colo sort of near to cloud technologies and some of the routers, but they throttled bandwidth and they were very expensive, right? And what we wanted to make sure is our best wish for Azure NetApp Files together is that customers would exercise it intensely. Like they would run tons of compute cores, they would run demanding databases, and so we did not want to have sort of choke points, latency, or anything that was affecting that full fidelity experience. And it took us a little longer to get there, but here we are, now, gosh, like 8-9 years into the partnership, and it's absolutely paid off. And I think a pivotal moment was when we did the first benchmarking in the data center, and we realized we could fully saturate the cluster and get the exact same performance that the performance lab was getting on premises, and then we'd known we had succeeded. And then I think the second part was building an experience around that you could just deploy it instantly from the portal. You didn't have to go through many layers, multiple panes of glass, and you could have volume up and running in a minute or less.
Yeah, you create your capacity pool and then you just start spinning up volumes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I love the way that we eventually landed on the multiple pricing tiers, service levels and things like that. I love the way that the UX was built around it, so that you kind of just forgot that there's a storage system under there. You're carving out these. I used to describe them as empty buckets of water. So you would create your buckets of water and then you would fill them up with various amounts of water based on the performance necessary that you would need out of it. And I mean, that's an 8-year-old way of describing it. I can't imagine what the service is like now for end users. Is it mostly the same, or what evolutionary steps have we seen in that 8 years that you just mentioned?
Yeah, it's funny because we wanted to make it familiar and powerful for the ONTAP sophisticated user, but also easily accessible for new users. And one of the things that we like to use to do in the day is try and create a demo or recording that you could get through every feature in 2 minutes or less, right? I actually just tried that again recently. Unfortunately, I don't have the video with me, but you can still do that. But the richness in terms of what you can do has increased dramatically. And if you think back to when we first launched Azure NetApp Files, it was already groundbreaking for what it was in the era. But the things that we're doing and a whole bunch of the capabilities we announced and have teased at the show, the service has just grown and expanded exponentially. Like I think the level of capability and sophistication now is just incredible, particularly as we look at the things that are needed for the AI era, and then being able to do our part in unleashing genius. So,
what are some of the latest and greatest things that people can be looking for? What are the latest announcements that you guys have made around Azure NetApp Files?
Yeah, so I'll sort of try and keep along with the key themes of Insight. So, big one is scale, right? We have dramatically increased scale. And we've announced we're going to go further. So currently we can support 2 petabytes in a single volume, right? So that's a very big bucket.
Wow.
But with cool access, which I think everybody knows, it's basically the fabric pools, which really helps with the economics. We're going to increase that total limit to over 7 petabytes, right? 7 petabytes in a single volume. But corresponding to that also increases in the performance, right? So with multiple lifts coming to the large volumes, we'll, stay tuned, but we're looking at quadrupling the throughput and driving the IOPS from a single volume to over 1 million IOPS, right? So now very large, deep bucket of capacity, blazing fast performance, still with that minimum sub-millisecond latency, right? So all of the power you need to do, whatever you need from high performance workloads, whatever you need for your AI, data preparation, or whatnot. We've done a lot also on the security side, so I think a really incredible capability from ONTAP that we are bringing to Azure NetApp Files is going to be the anti-ransomware protection, right? Like for those data sets, you cannot be too careful. Cyber threats are increasing, so this is going to be a really critical feature. We've also announced and recently launched things like file access logs. So again, doing a lot of the things for security, being able to just sort of seamlessly convert your platform managed keys to customer managed keys. So a lot of things around security.
Even just to have that audit trail of being able to go in and say who's been in my stuff.
Exactly. Data mobility, right? So fulfilling the promise of SnapMirror, right? So a couple things is we just introduced fan-out replication. If you need that dual redundancy across zones and regions, you can now do both from the same volume, right? So I know you were just talking about the clustering. We're offering a lot more ability with SnapMirror there. And then two to three key things coming up is we have the migration assistant. So now you can use SnapMirror to migrate data from CVO, from on-prem into Azure NetApp files, right? A full fidelity migration, easy, seamless. Yeah,
love it.
Very, very well loved.
Arguably the most sought after feature request over the last 8 years since we've being able to snap mirror directly to it. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's one that customers love. I think I was just talking to a customer yesterday, something like a 6 to 8x improvement in throughput versus some of the stuff they had tried to bring in over Robocopy. And then another one that got mentioned in the keynote yesterday, huge demand again, particularly data, AI, HPC, overcoming data gravity, flex cache with Azure NetApp files. So the ability to use Azure NetApp files both as an origin and as a cache volume, another hugely hotly awaited feature. And then down the road, we are also looking to support hybrid DR. So that's one we get asked a lot. Stay tuned, that one is going to be coming.
Do you see that one to being more workload driven?
Yeah.
Because I look at that as some of the way that we're doing our backup as a service in NetApp console now is a lot. It's more focused on what workload it is, so it's going to be orchestrated within that sort of context. So I look at something like Azure NetApp Files as like, what other workloads are people running inside of Azure that could trigger or orchestrate that replication process? Yeah. Could we do it from the top down like that, or is this going to be an underneath kind of piece?
I think there's both, but you're right. Workload orchestration is something that's also been a key part of the ANF DNA. And you might be familiar, there's a lot of things we've tried to do to not just sort of have ANF be like a Lego block.
Yeah.
So a couple really great examples are application volume groups, which is like our single touch deploy SAP HANA landscape, Oracle database landscape, right? All of the sizing, naming, best practices, behind the covers, all of the layout stuff done instantly. And so I think there are opportunities to now figure out, okay, how do we layer in resilience, redundancy, and replication options along with that. And then you also know we've done a fair bit of orchestration in the deployment of how you connect Azure NetApp Files to Azure VMware Service. So deploying it as a data store just feels like a very natural and organic process.
That was where I was going to go next. Was how does Azure? What improvements have we made? Because I know it's been a little touch and go. At least it was in the beginning, as far as connecting Azure VMware Service to Azure NetApp Files. We've seen improvements there as far as getting that connectivity done. Performance improvements over the higher bandwidth stuff.
Yeah, the connectivity is definitely. The deployment is a very elegant experience, right? So if you create an ANF volume, you basically can now declare I want it to be a data store, and then you can give some of the property elements of that volume into your AVS experience, and then it does all the handshaking configuration, and then boom, you're ready to go. So it's completely turnkey from that standpoint, and then we also have experiences around snapshot orchestration and whatnot, and yes, progressively also in terms of the backend connectivity, we've been working to improve and continue to lower the latency and the throughput that you can get between the AVS cluster and your ANF data stores.
Where do you, I like to play this game of positioning sometimes when we have some of our product leadership from various places come on. And I don't want to put you in a spot, but I also want to make sure that to the audience and the end users, they understand, like, when I come to my Azure portal and I've created my account and I start looking at all of the various storage options out there, talk to me about where you would use what for which workload and things like that, because they have choices between files, premium SSD, Azure NetApp files, like all that. Help unconfuse the Azure user a little bit. Like, how do they select one of these?
Yeah, so boy, that I could easily go probably for an hour on that. Yeah. I think probably the one that gets a little trickier. I think object storage is probably generally a distinct class, although now in the age of AI with a lot of unstructured data, right, that line is increasingly becoming blurred. But I think for the ONTAP user, it's pretty straightforward. If you're an ONTAP user, I think ANF is the very logical place to start. If you're not an ONTAP user broadly, where are some of the things that it really shines? ANF has well proven itself in mission critical database deployments, right? The fact that we got HANA certification for cluster scale out, again, no one in public cloud had done that at the time we had. We've been well demonstrated, and there's a lot of public facing customer success stories of what we've done in HANA, and then also now in Oracle. So those top tier databases, which ONTAP had long been known for, we've proven ourselves in the same way. Some of the largest most mission critical time is money, the millions of dollars that tick by for outages or latency inflicted performance impacts. We're doing those in Azure, and again, we have all the experiences. Application volume groups, we have AZ Snap. We also have Snap Center support, right? And then now we've brought things, we call it the short-term clones, but basically flex clone technology. So all of those canonical cases are really well done, and that level of sophistication in terms of snaps space-efficient clones, replication, top-tier performance, now with FSL configurability, and then of course the cool access to just seamlessly tier off cool data, that entire experience which has served those top-tier workloads that had all of those interdependencies, not just across primary, but backup, data protection, replication. ANF does really well because we've taken that heritage and then basically built a full fidelity version of that entire experience in cloud. And then what we're also seeing is a lot of high performance workloads. So space where I think the matter of ANF being the solution across clouds has been settled. And there's a lot of excitement is electronic design automation, so chip design. And we have a blog, and Ong's talking about in the executive session, our own Microsoft Silicon design team uses Azure NetApp File, a very large petabyte scale under punishing conditions, up to 50,000 cores to drive the business results we talk about, 25% reduction in simulation. So again, this was a driver for the fact that we have a 2 petabyte volume. We're going to go to 7 petabyte volume. All of the improvements we're making at very large scale. And then now with the Object REST API that we're putting in front of that, unlocking full access to the entire suite of Azure Data Analytics services and Azure AI services. Right now, you can have your traditional file workloads, whatever originates the data, and now build modern applications, agent-based applications, or unlock that analytics and AI value from that. So I guess that's a very long-winded answer, but hopefully helps.
I think the one thing you nailed is that if you're an existing NetApp customer and you're used to all of our sort of features and functionality built around our Flex and Snap vocabulary, vernacular, I think you're going to have a really good time in Azure NetApp Files. It is super simple to use, super simple to configure, super simple to hook into your other Azure services you might be using, whether it's desktop, virtual VMware services, any kind of your SQL PaaS, SQL services, anything like that. SAP, as you mentioned, we are tried and true S&P hosts for a long time now. But yeah, any of the tier 1 apps, any of that kind of stuff, we are the bread and butter for that kind of stuff. So I really look forward to further enhancements with ANF. I think it has so much potential to be one of the premier services in the cloud throughout the industry. So thank you very much for stopping by, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us here.
And we'll have you on later when we get we need to do a new What's New in Azure NetApp Files soon. But I'll get with Yert on that one.
All righty.
Thanks, Andrew. All right, guys, moving right along. That was a great quick update on Azure NetApp Files and everything that's kind of going on with Azure there. We're going to switch gears a little bit now. We're going to go over to the partner market with Mr. Arno. How you doing, sir?
Good, nice meeting.
Nice to meet you.
And nice meeting you.
Tell me, how do you pronounce your name properly?
Arno, vendor side.
Vendor side.
Vendor side. Okay. In English, the Dutch, it doesn't
work in the Dutch, okay. You're with Arrow.
I'm at Arrow, yes,
right.
correct.
What do you do for Arrow?
I'm leading the European data management and alliances team. So from the strategic alliance point of view, NetApp is one of our strongest partners, as a lot of people know. And since many, many years already, I think more than 20 years.
Yeah, 20 plus years.
We go way back with each other.
So what are some of the services that you do as being in this partnership with NetApp?
Yeah, so especially enablement services is one thing, of course, but also making sure that the technical knowledge is throughout the partnerships and making sure that we're able to have those partners being up and running and ready for the NetApp. Especially with the new releases recently and the announcement what they've done this week. So we see a lot of, let's say, progress on that one. And what we're doing is to make sure that we are being the bridge between, let's say, the vendor on a global scale towards our local countries. And what we do is identifying, but also copying and make sure we are translating those in those 28 countries in EMEA.
Yeah. When an announcement is made for a new series system like AFX was yesterday, how many months, if not years, in preparation are you guys spending learning about that new system in order to take it out to market, implement it at some of your customer sites, that sort of thing? What sort of preparation does a distributor or a partner like Arrow? What kind of investment is in that?
So, like you said, more than 20 years. I think it shows how intense and strong we work together. What we try to do is to help them also to identify what is needed into the market. That's very important because we're not passing through, but we also listen to what the market wants and echo it back during advisory boards, etc. So what we do is to make sure months, sometimes a year ahead with our, let's say, development teams from our side, it will their side see, okay, what's needed to the market, what works, at what time, so we can prepare it for maybe strategic partnerships first before we launch it across the other areas as well.
So for Arrow, what is home base? Where do you guys consider home base to be? Is it Brussels?
I live in Brussels myself, but we have a headquarters in Paris.
In Paris, okay.
And also, let's say, technical headquarters in Harrogate, up north in London.
If you had sort of a focus market or like a home base, what would be your
My home
your
base
biggest
is
market?
in the plane most of the time. You know what it is. But
Delta
from
and
airport
Marriott.
to Delta and Marriott. From
People
airport
always
to
ask me
airport.
where I live, and it's Delta and
Exactly,
Marriott.
exactly. But yeah, like I said, we're my team from the strategic alliances. We cross all the 28 countries in EMEA, what we try to align with the local terms. So every country where we aim is our home base. That's how we call it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What is your bread and butter? Is it far as deploying services, as far as on top of existing things, or do you come in and do a little bit of all of the above?
So our focus area is most of the time to make sure that we are enable the partners and to adapting the solutions that are coming to the market. Can be ONTAP to cloud volumes, everything related to the relationship, but also the aligning from other alliances. We see more and more vendors are strategically trying to reach out to each other, say, okay, can we do together to the market?
Yeah.
And that's our strength point because we have both knowledge in-house. Also the other trends, we see it already during the time we did with VMware, Citrix, people want to get away from, let's say, the non-core activities, and then automatically we as Arrow come there in place.
Gotcha.
Yeah? And that's also, for a lot of partners, is okay, we have one shop area where I can go and get everything aligned to that one as well, including our ArrowSphere platform, which is our marketplace, where we have let's say a strong pillar, because we see more and more MSPs want to use also, let's say, storage as a service onto the market.
Yeah. And it's a way for them to get in, start doing some business with maybe their customer base without having to do all of the stand-up that an Arrow would have.
So we automated a lot of things. So we see, for example, automation is key for those ones. If you ask about what are the trends, for example, automation, but also AI analytics, that needs to be delivered in a kind of an easier, scalable way towards the partners and end users, but also to the vendor, because they want to see how we're progressing to the one market as well. So.
Talk to me about the attitude around cloud in EMEA right now, specifically in Europe. We've heard some rumblings that Europe might be trying to build its own cloud provider. Is there any semblance of that you've seen, whether it's personal or part of Arrow? Or I'm just
we have our own marketplace. So
Microsoft
and AWS, I think we're number 3 in EMEA. I don't want to put much numbers, it's always. But the marketplace in general is, they want to keep their own marketplace with all, let's say, what's happening in the world. Let's keep it there.
Yeah.
But sovereignty is one thing. They want to keep it local, sometimes more around the corner even. And that's why you see that the more AI-related stuff is coming also, just like I said, around the corner, almost in your own backyard.
Yeah.
And if it's an only backyard data center, I don't want to call it like that, but the grades like the Equinixes and let's say the other, they're ramping up very hard. Yeah. That's why, for example, we also work with ABB and Schneider, who are, let's say, working together with able to build those data centers and work on, for example, electricity problems, which is very interesting, of course.
We're gonna I think that's going to be a worldwide problem we're going to have
for
a long time.
Already, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm a nuke boy myself. I think nuke's the way to go for the future, especially if we can get into fusion and some of the other more advanced versions of that, like we're seeing Lawrence Livermore, and it was mentioned in the keynote yesterday by George. We're seeing some of that stuff take hold.
But I heard also, sorry to interrupt you, but for example, I heard also yesterday on, I think, one of the business channels here, that Walmart is starting an AI offering towards the market. You see,
why not?
It's coming already to you.
Why not? They do everything else.
Everything else.
Why can't they also be a VAR at this point, right?
Absolutely.
I think one of my crazy predictions that I think it maybe 20 years in the future, I think it could be we could have every home could have a small fusion reactor.
Absolutely.
I think there's an element of that's how we solve the power crisis, and I think Microsoft going out and starting up 3 Mile Island again is probably not the best idea.
No.
But if we look at nuclear as a sustainable way to do power generation, we've learned all the lessons that we've needed to learn about nuclear power, specifically with the fallout that we had in Europe long ago. But I look at this as it's an evolutionary step towards this kind of power generation. Is power and resourcing still the key problem in Europe, if not the world?
Yeah, of course, but also the climate changes, it asks really the high summer seasons, of course, you need to manage that one as well.
Yeah.
I live in Belgium, so Google recently announced signing up the contract to expand I think with double the sizes of their own data centers in the Walloon area in Belgium, which is already a good sign, because it shows how much they believe also to open up. We see it with AWS, we see it with Microsoft as well. But of course, power remains a challenge for a lot of companies, by the way.
Yeah. Any big announcements that you guys have made this week that you'd like to highlight?
Well, the biggest announcement is that we are working together with NetApp, and our vendors, for example, in general, our strategic vendors are for us key. And what we want to do is to help them to become to the new area of AI. And I think it's now some momentum. We heard a lot of those breakout sessions as well, so the keynotes. So many people are ready for it, but they don't know how to monetize this. And for us, together with those strategic vendors, we're going to help them to monetize that AI journey as well.
Where do you see disaggregated architectures like the new AFX that was announced yesterday playing a role in the AI world? Where do you see that fitting in the greater landscape of things?
I think you see always let's say the enterprise starts first to adapt, and then automatically it will spread out across the other ones. You know, the markets, the mid-market and SME market is differently than in North America. So we need to make sure that, for example, with the AI Pod Mini and also the AI Pod Flex with Intel, but also with Lenovo, and Lenovo is one of our strategic vendors as well. So we want to make sure we're ready to help them towards and embrace them as a joint alliances.
Yeah.
And that's why AFX or AI Pod Mini, no matter what, for every area there is something as a market for. And we help them to go into the market.
Yeah, the power that I see behind Arrow and other channel partners like the VARs of this is the value, the value added part of this. It's not that you're just reselling our gear. It's the things that you bring above and beyond that sort of. So designing and customizing tailored solutions for every single customer, going in and offering these types of different opportunities, regardless of what the situation might be and where they may be located, what cloud provider they want to use. It doesn't matter to an Arrow because you can tailor those solutions for any of them.
And that's what they also, now the demand, you cannot come with a standard solution anymore. It needs to be tailor-made. We do with the Aerosphere, our marketplace is also white labeling. That means automatically they're using engine power by Aerosphere, but automatically it's fully branded by the partner itself. A lot of, we recently done a major financial service provider who want to change the model towards modernizing their full infrastructure and how we help them. And that's also a first phase that we see more and more mid and enterprise business say, okay, now it's momentum, especially on the AI pods. Am I AI ready? And that's the first question we need to help. And we're helping NetApp, but also the other vendors to see what can we do to make this identification of the AI and make them aware what needs to be done towards the future.
What is the best way for one of our mutual customers to engage with Arrow? For somebody that might be new, might be looking to go out for the first time or overhauler, what is the best way for them to get started with Arrow?
First of all, we help them embrace them as kind of in the Arrow family. That's first of all, to know what we're doing. But enablement is one. I think we have a very strong enablement team, what we want to make sure that we're helping that partner to come into the journey of the world of the NetApp, for example, in this case, and make sure what AFX is doing or what the AI Pod Mini is doing, what we can do more often towards the market. But also the technical knowledge, and how can we bring that knowledge towards their end customers, because the end customers are depending also the partners. And the partners say, yeah, we're ready, but if they're already having issues with AI, then of course they will never go. But we're helping them to go to that journey and make sure that they're able and to bring business growth, because that's what we're here for, right?
I love it.
We're not a charity organization.
No, exactly, we're all in business, right? Everybody here's here to make money. Arno, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for being an amazing partner for 20 plus years.
Thanks for having you here as well.
And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Since 1935 already, so we keep moving on.
1935.
Thank you.
All right, that was Arno van der Siege from Arrow. And if you'd like to work with Arrow, he gave you some details there at the end on how to get in contact with him, but you can always go to arrow.com and check out those forms and whatnot. Moving right along, how are we doing on time here? Just a quick time check. We're doing pretty good. Got about 5 minutes extra. I wanted to move over to, we've already talked to the Microsoft guy, so now we got to move over to one of the other ones. A friend of mine that I've known for a long time. We're going to talk about some more storage in the cloud stuff with Mr. Jay Horn from AWS.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Thanks for being here, Jay. So, I remember being at Storage Day, AWS Storage Day in 2021 for the unveiling.
That's right.
Up in Seattle. And I remember some of the things that I was talking about at that Storage Day about FSX for NetApp ONTAP.
Yep.
Very new concept because of the way it was being delivered, and previously how we had done it with CVS being sort of a co-located service like that. was evolutionary, a big evolutionary step in it being a sort of first-party offering from AWS. Can you tell me how we sort of got to that point of what made Amazon or AWS interested in having that NetApp storage, that ONTAP instance being natively run in your data centers?
Sure, it's a great question. So when we look back through the history of AWS and the storage portfolio that we developed as part of our ecosystem, we launched with S3 originally, so with object storage, of course, having that in our portfolio, it's been very popular. Of course, then we had block storage with EBS, Elastic Block Storage, where we still typically boot all of our EC2 instances from, and it's still a very prominent portion of our portfolio there as well. And then we had EFS, so our Elastic File System. So EFS came out 2014-15 timeframe. And at AWS, we tend to look to see what customers are asking for as we begin to develop features. We call that a product feature request for those of you who are customers out there of AWS. And we listened to our customer feedback, and probably around 2017, a group of our engineers is working in Boston to develop file systems. And EFS is pretty robust feature set by that point. And the feedback that we were getting from customers was, hey, we need multi-protocol, we need snapshots, we need the ability to do replication and data protection and all these other things that of course we can develop because we're Amazon and we do a lot of development of software. Yeah. So we know that we can build these feature sets into our product, but the engineers were telling us the time frame for these feature releases was going to be multiple years long. So some smart character in the room, and I wasn't there, I don't know who it was, but they raised their hand and they said, hey, you know what might be a good idea is if we take an existing file system and we just serviceify that file system, which essentially means that we wrap it up in a whole bunch of automation and we deploy that on our existing infrastructure. And that really is the impetus for the way that FSx came to be.
Yeah.
Now, originally we launched with Windows.
It wasn't just about ONTAP.
Not about ONTAP.
Windows
originally.
and Lustre, and now there's more of them there, but FSx as a service was born.
Exactly.
And we were just one of the first entrants through that door, along with Windows, and we've got Lustre now and all of the other ones that are out there.
There's some others out there, but
yeah.
the key point is, even though we knew at the very beginning we wanted to release that file system, we named the service family FSx because we knew there would be other file systems that came along. Because there really isn't just one file system that exists that meets the needs of every customer in every scenario. And so yeah, when they released FSx for NetApp ONTAP, that's when I got involved, being a former colleague of yours at NetApp. And it's been a great journey. We've been very excited to be able to release all of these features sort of all at once to get so many customers to adopt the service so quickly. And we've been very pleased with that so far.
I remember it being somewhat of a 2-year super secret, top secret project behind closed doors, co-engineering effort to get all of it worked out. Some of the requirements that we had learned from using our simulators and things over the years when running it on our non-proprietary sort of offerings in that sense. So that whole thing came out to be, and I think it caught everybody by surprise when it was first announced. I believe it was in June of 21, and then a couple months later we had Storage Day, and I was there we got into some more details of it. 2021 was an amazing year. Just the launch of FSxN, and then seeing the growth of it over the last 3 or 4 years has absolutely blown my mind. It is arguably the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing I know at AWS services, but it's also been one of the fastest growing across all of the cloud providers combined.
Yeah, it has been AWS's fastest growing storage service over that period of time. It's so hard to believe that it's been 4 years. We celebrated our anniversary just recently.
4 years August.
And it was amazing to get the group together and kind of have that celebration. A lot of the same people still developing that have been here since the beginning, all the way back. I just want to say too that you mentioned CVS and CVO, of course, still great products that are out there in our marketplace as well. But that really did lay the foundation, the groundwork for being able to easily serviceify such an arguably complex and robust file system that has just so many features. That's what make it so attractive, but also made it very easy for us to seamlessly deploy into our environment.
There was a time, all the way back in 2012, when I took our simulator that we would run in our labs, Jay, and I tried to shoehorn it into an EC2 instance. And I got it to work. It was terrible. The performance was awful because it was a simulator. But functionally I got it to work. That led to Cloud ONTAP. That led to what we now know as CVO ultimately. It led to the creation of Cloud Manager and some of the other kind of things. The evolution of this goes all the way back to even predates CVS with something we used to call NPS, NetApp Private Storage, where we were doing this co-location, you know, crisscross your BGP and Bob's your uncle. And you had storage in the cloud.
Right.
But it was sovereign, it was yours, it was co-located. That was one of the value adds of CVS, is that it stayed sort of yours. You were just cross-connecting it up to connect it to services. I think one of the foundational things that make FSx awesome is all of that nonsense kind of goes away.
Absolutely.
And you get to run it as an AWS service, built by AWS, supported by AWS, tied into all of the AWS services you already use, including identity management, your server, all of the stuff. And you get to just go all in on your storage, but it's all of the same Flex and Snap words that you know and love, being an ONTAP customer, ONTAP user and admin, and it's such a win-win experience for everybody. We did CVS, we've done other things in other clouds, we landed on FSx, and I think it was the sweet spot. I think it was the Goldilocks.
It's definitely really important to our customers to have that first-party service experience. I know I was there as well in 2012 when it was our friend Val got on stage to announce Cloud ONTAP, the very first, at this very conference.
We didn't let customers in yet, though.
Yeah, that was the good old days. But yeah, so when I talk to customers quite frequently, what I find is that they do tend to want to adopt services all from one payer, one provider. They want to have that single billing experience. They want to have that unified ecosystem. So even if they already have frequently other service offerings that are arguably meeting their business needs, if there's something in our portfolio that does an equal or better job, they want to adopt that service through us directly, simply because they feel that they have that unified experience.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most important things, and it's one of the things we really harped on. If you guys remember the launch of FSx ONTAP, you'll remember some of the slides, the AWS slides, that had all of the pictures of all of the various services that were day one supported things from AWS services, not just here's this empty storage. No, we went to great lengths and efforts to make sure that things like CloudFormation, CloudWatch, some of the monitoring services, the provisioning services, a lot of those things were day one releases all the way back in 2021. And I've kept up with Andy and Ed and everybody else on we need an update. It's been a minute since I've had an FSxN update on ONAIR. So what is the latest and greatest, Jay? Take me down what is, excuse me, since reInvent last year, we're about 6 weeks away from reInvent this year. Since then, where are we at with FSxN? What's the latest everybody should look out for?
Absolutely, so no spoilers. Yeah. Things coming at reInvent, but I can't reveal that here today. But I can tell you what some of the things are that we've done over the last year and even in the last few months. So as many of you are aware, we released scale-out clustering, which is a very unique feature for FSx ONTAP, having the ability to grow clusters by adding HA pairs to a cluster to make it much more like on-premises NetApp, giving some of our largest customers the ability to deploy those huge enterprise workloads across multiple different controllers to scale their performance horizontally up to 72 gigabytes a second.
Wow.
Pretty high throughput. So that was last year at reInvent. And since then, we've added some more elasticity to the file system as well. One of the key complaints that customers had as we rolled into, back in 2021 when we first released, essentially you could build your infrastructure and you were sort of locked into the way that was originally built. And of course, that's not very cloud-like.
No.
We want to have full elasticity in basically everything that we release in the cloud. And so over time, we've incrementally added features like the ability to scale up your cluster, the ability to add disk, the ability to scale out into the capacity pool or the fabric pool back end of storage. And most recently, we finally have released the ability to scale down your storage, which is a very, very important feature for our customers that do have very large workloads that then get cold over time.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to tier that off to their fabric pool and then shrink the amount of SSD that they've provisioned. So that's been it's been the number one ask from our product feature request set of asks for at least 3 years.
So we effectively have ENS?
Elastic
NetApp service? Is that the right way to? I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's not a thing. Don't read into that. It's not a thing. We're not announcing anything.
But adding more elasticity definitely is always something.
Huge.
So really, almost the last stumbling block for us in terms of being able to offer that fully elastic service that meets the needs of all of our customers and gives them the ability to scale up and down on demand.
Very cool. One of the last things that I wanted to ask you about was, when it comes to AI, and you look at some of the changes we've made with ONTAP, and the new AFX thing that was launched, as far as that goes. How do you take a construct like that and implement it in the cloud? And I don't think that's a direct one-to-one sort of thing, but what is AWS looking at when it comes to AI as far as leveraging some of the horsepower of ONTAP to be able to enable some of the AI-driven services that you guys are bringing to market?
Yeah, the key thing for us is being able to have our foundational models get access to all of the data in your corporate organization, because as you know, a lot of the questions that I tend to ask customers are about the value that their data adds to their business. And quite frequently, if I ask a customer, true or false, your data is your company's most valuable asset. More often than not, customers will answer, well, that's absolutely true. It's our unique data that gives us the value that we drive into the rest of our organization. And being able to take advantage of that cohesively across all of their estate is by far the most important thing that we can do when we talk about AI and generative AI and agentic AI and now interpretive AI as we go through the different generations. Customers want to be able to have the full visibility into that portfolio. So typical file access, of course, is in place now. And we have access through all the foundational models through Bedrock.
Bedrock, yeah.
So customers can then access different foundational models and connect their data in different ways. We want to make that easier over time, but can't really tell you too much about that just yet.
We'll be right back with you guys in about 6 weeks at AWS reInvent down the street at Venetian. I love Bedrock. I love some of the tools that I've been able to play with using SageMaker, some of the workflows that I've been able to do with that. There's so much more in AWS. What are some of the top, if people are exploring new AI services, what are the AWS services they should be playing with?
Sure, so of course Bedrock, and I've got to mention the Nova foundational models, which is the AWS owned foundational models. Also our partnership with Anthropic, I've had tremendous amount of success with Claude and being able to generate code. I was recently asked to do a lot of developmental testing for an incredibly large workload that would have taken me probably 2 or 3 weeks to stand up the infrastructure in order to generate the workload that I needed to. With the help of Claude, I was able to do that in about 2 hours. So huge difference, huge improvements in just code generation, code sanity checking, and having the ability to get through that much more quickly makes me a lot more effective at my job.
Do you see, I was talking with my friend Jason Benedicic yesterday about, and just kind of goofing around about, one of the things I'm exploring at home is building my own network engineers as agents.
Okay.
That can operate 24/7. They can do log capture, packet capture, alert me when something goes wrong, and eventually maybe even get to the point where they could update a config on their own. Who knows? We'll see. We might play with that. I also want to take that same sort of mantra and send it down. Could I make a storage administrator? Could I take on a request, or could I set certain thresholds that would automatically change certain conditions, volume sizes, adding disk to aggregates, certain things, adding cluster bandwidth, things of this nature for take advantage of additional available resources. I think about this also as a cloud architect. Could we create an agent that is a cloud architect that, based on a given, you mentioned the elasticity thing a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Given that, could we have a running agent that was constantly monitoring resource utilization in FSx ONTAP that could automate some of the scale or change configuration and stuff like that? I think this is the world we're going towards in the next few years.
No, without a doubt, there's a tremendous amount of work being done in exactly that direction, to where you can optimize your workload. And I would say you need to reach across the aisle to your counterparts in your Tel Aviv office that work on the Workload Factory product from NetApp, because they've done a lot of work on exactly that to help you optimize the cost of all of your AWS estate, not just the FSx ONTAP portion, but helping you analyze how your workloads are running on ONTAP or even on other AWS services, and giving you some guidelines around how to best both cost optimize and performance optimize those using some AI tools.
Nice.
Definitely, in the works already.
Do you have a personal favorite in AWS? What do you tend to gravitate towards? What is when you're off the clock, what do you play with in AWS?
Oh boy, again, network and routing stuff for sure. Yeah, I do a few interesting things around multi-WAN cloud in my own home that has multi-attached to different regions.
Nice.
And I do a lot of monitoring of that traffic. And automatically updating firewall rules based on real-time metrics that come back out.
Ooh.
So there's some stuff that I spend my time on there as well.
We need to have a beer after this because I'm curious about what you're working on over there. Jay, it's always awesome catching up with you, man. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to give a shout out to with regards to AWS or things that you're working on right now?
No, if anybody's still walking around, Jim White is giving our intro session along with one of our product managers, Saurav Majumdar, up in room 357, I think, right now. So if anybody's watching and they want to hop up to the room 357, you can pop in on Jim and Saurav and see the basic intro on what's new with FSx ONTAP.
And if you're not here and you're watching from home, you can catch that online probably in a few weeks when we get all of that stuff uploaded. So
awesome.
Always a good time, Jay. Thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
Awesome. All right, guys. We got one more. I thought we were done, but we can't forget this one. We got one more. Arguably the most important one of the day for me personally. This man is my right hand. He's my most venerable producer, if you're a fan of Borat. He's my Baba Booey. He is Drew Claybrook. Thank you for joining me here.
Yeah, it's good.
I need you to introduce you to the people. Introduce yourself to the people because you do so much here, and I'm going to glow you up here in a second because I don't think everybody appreciates just how much you do here at NetApp. Who are you for the people? And then I'm going to start buttering you up.
Who am I for the people? So I'm NetApp's community manager. I help run our NetApp Discord, discord.gg/NetApp. Got to throw the plug in there, of course. And I run the NetApp community forum. So that's community.netapp.com. If you've been following the announcements this week, you've inevitably seen a lot of blogs go out, the Tech on Tap blogs, announcing what we've shared here at the show.
Yeah. A few years ago, I came to you with a crazy idea. You had been here but a little over a year at that point, and we were heavily into the pandemic, and everything was shut down, and we were hanging out in a sort of a personal Discord community that I had, and I said, hey, I got a crazy idea. I built this mock-up of a Discord of what it could potentially be for NetApp. And he jumped on board and was like, ride or die, yeah, let's do it, YOLO. Folks, it crossed 6,000 members this week. And I just want to say that was fantastic to see us get over that milestone. Onward to 10,000 is where we're headed. And what has the experience been like for you, Drew? Because I think both of us were sort of questioning whether or not that was am I crazy at the moment? Like, is this a good thing? Should we even try this?
Why.
Yes.
So yeah, with forums-based communities, we're really seeing across the industry that a lot of times that's kind of a dying breed now. And so one of the terms that I used kind of to sell it upwards was that this is building the community for the next generation of NetApp customer. We've got to build stuff that's easier to use and things that just are meant for people who think differently.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. With Discord, it's been great. That real-time component of communication goes a long way with people. It feels less formal, which is kind of where we are. So that's been really, really good to have that. And
there's an element of the people that are here at the event as well as attendees communicating back into Discord and showing other community members in Discord what they might be missing out on. So it helps generate a little bit of FOMO, right? They're sharing pictures, the pins. You took all your pins off.
My pins off.
But Drew has the whole just arraignment of pins all over him. But it just gives you an idea. I'm sure you guys have seen pictures or something like that of all of the pins that are out there for people to collect if you're into that sort of thing. I wanted to talk about, yes, obviously Discord. Yes, we've got the community forums. One of the other things above and beyond NetApp On Air that we're doing with YouTube is we've been working on something around consolidating, bringing back a standard to some of our technical content and working on consolidating some of those sort of extraneous channels that might be out there. What's your take on that? Do you think it's where we're at with that is a good idea, or how do we move forward with that?
I mean, I love the idea, seeing the just wide variety of different channels out there, whether they're regional or product-based. It really makes sense to build community in one place. So we've been working hard to do that. There's a handful that we've already kind of moved some of that content over. But in doing that, we want to make sure that we seed the main NetApp channel on YouTube with content that is easy to consume and actually gets what you want. YouTube is a very technical resource, second largest search engine there. So when you search, you're going to find a YouTube video showing you how to do everything. So I know with the KB team that I work with here at NetApp, they put out a lot of new videos there to kind of match the articles that they write, so that it's a step-by-step how-to on how that works. And just to show you a more visual learner kind of approach.
And we're going to be doing some more of that, working with the product teams and the tech marketing teams. As new updates come out for any of their products, you guys will see that we're going to be releasing a lot of those helping facilitate some of those recordings, get them published and edited much sooner, keep them a little more organized, and bring a little bit of that technical back to the YouTube channel.
We've already seen that with Chance.
We have. If you leading up to VMworld this year, we released 4 videos with our guest Chance Bingen, going over the OTV, the nuts and bolts, deploying NVMe over TCP. And he's got another one that's getting ready to come out, from what I understand, so that we've already recorded with him. So a lot of our technical practitioners and experts and solution guys and girls are going to be making and recording some of these new videos. We're going to facilitate a lot of that stuff, get them onto the YouTube channel. But there is a lot of effort that goes on behind the scenes to get this done. So I want to commend you for stepping up and being willing to go on that journey with me and saying, again, YOLO, yet another time, 4 years later after Discord, to help rebuild and consolidate this YouTube presence that we have. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, subscribe, like the video. It helps.
The buttons
it
are
works.
down there.
Yeah. We're going to be doing lots more of these live streams. We're going to be scheduling this stuff throughout the end of the year. We have a whole new just menu of stuff to talk about. There's been a little bit of a dry spell because at some point you just run out of stuff to talk about and you kind of have to wait till Insight gets here to talk about the new stuff. Well, we're here. I got all new stuff to talk about now. There's probably 6 episodes in the last 24 hours that have been, sort of mentally pre-booked.
The number of people that have walked up while we're here on the show floor that want to do an episode with us and talk about the cool thing they're working on has been pretty impressive. So I'm glad that we've been able to build that excitement around the products and services and technology that we have.
And this is one small part of it. Look, we've gotten Justin to start doing video, much against his, I kind of had to.
He worked with us. It's good.
I kind of had to, it's one of those things where you got to push him out of the nest a little bit, because after doing it for 8 years a certain way, it's a little bit. You've got your rhythms and everything, but it looks great. I love the layout of it. Yeah. He's got his first few episodes up on the YouTube channel, so you can watch those there now. We're going to work on getting them on Spotify as well. So however you want to consume that content. We've got the old cloud control show from Sean. Shout out to Sean if you're watching. Hi, buddy. That we're going to try and repurpose into something else. So we are bringing we've got Phoebe and Mecca doing the STEMinists as well as another show and podcast out there. So we are creating this sort of world of content. It's not only just technical how-to video stereo instructions anymore. We want to have opinionated commentary from some of our experts out there on the YouTube channel. We want to see people interviewing others, having these things. I want to start doing panel discussions in Discord. Absolutely. With some of our I talked with Jeff Baxter and Asen and Gebhardt and Parisi. Yeah. They all want to come do a panel in Discord. So if you're not in our Discord community, guys, be sure to come hang out in there so you can ask your questions to some of these experts. I think you're going to see that as a big trend going into 26, as we're going to do more and more of these kind of community-driven initiatives, but in ways that you're comfortable and familiar with.
Yeah, and I mean, having the live stream is just more proof that we want to do that. What we were able to do before the keynote this morning was an added bonus for everybody at home. So
all of these parts, all of these snapshot, all of this is just part of it. We want to extend Snapshot to other events. I would love to take it to reInvent. All of these pieces, the more that we can sort of extend out and get our tentacles, if you will, into the various areas that users are and hang out. Reddit, GitHub, all of these places that our users are spending their time, not just our Discord, but we want to go where they are, meet them where they are.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about our developers and stuff that we're building for them too now. So there's more to come on that. We didn't even get there. So we've run out of time, basically.
As an update, developers.netapp.com. I think whatever the existing page is there, and we're working on a sort of a round 2 of that right now. I think Mecca is spearheading that. So shout out to Mecca for taking the lead on that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff coming for our end users. There's a lot of stuff for the community. Drew and I are both unified in our position that there is one NetApp community, sort of universally, regardless of how you interact with us. That is the way we see things going forward. We want to be there wherever you are to meet you where you are, regardless of which path that is. So Drew, any final closing thoughts before we get out of here for the day? How's Insight been for you?
Insight's been fun. This is always good to get out and be able to see people that we work with and talk to all the time, especially those who are active in the community, in our Discord, all around, and just the putting a face to the name that you see on screen is always nice.
And there was no better way to do that than our warm-up party on Monday night.
Monday night was great for that. We had a great time at the place up the street there.
Yep.
And yeah, I was excited to be able to do that for everybody.
Yeah, it's always fun to get a custom T-shirt, some custom handouts, give everybody a couple of drink coupons, and play some music and just talk. Good food, good drink, good camaraderie. And it's so good to just have that. So look forward to doing that every year going forward.
Hope we can do more.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that are becoming staples. On-air is becoming a staple. Warm-up parties becoming a staple. We want a delivery vehicle to be able to disseminate information.
This is how we're showing it.
And build camaraderie, around all of our attendees and users, whether they're partners or customers or beyond. So. Thank you, man. I just want to thank you for the last few years. This has been a really good ride. I really appreciate it.
I'll slide you a note here as we walk off.
Oh, okay. Breaking news. I just got a huge fax. If you know, you know. Insight 2026 will be right here again at the MGM Grand the week of September 28th. September 28th, the week of right here in Las Vegas for NetApp Insight 2026. Mark your calendars now. It'll be here before you know it. It'll be here before we know it.
I know.
We'll be back here doing On-Air Snapshot. We'll be back here doing lots of fun community stuff all the way across the board. But I think that's going to do it for us for this year's Insight. Nick. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. One more shout out to everybody that's been part of the production crew. Love you guys. You nailed it. Bravo. Thank you to Jeff Baxter for making this a reality. Thank you to Brian Hodge and the rest of the events team for seeing this through as well. And thank you to Drew for being my partner in crime, helping me schedule guests, helping me come up with all of the pretty graphics that you saw on the screen for everybody's name tags and whatnot. Discord.gg/NetApp or NetAppDiscord.com to get into our community stuff there. We're going to be doing some of those panel discussions later this year and more, so make sure you get into there and join us. My name is Nick Howell. This has been NetApp On Air Snapshot for Insight 2026 from Las Vegas. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next year. Take care.